All right, so my friends, welcome to the second in our series of 4 hashtag sponsor streams from Emergents TCG. I'm very, very excited to have another excellent guest on. If you missed last week's episode, my first time playing the game was a really, really good ground floor. Like, here's someone who's never played a game before, kind of going through it and learning everything. We had Corey Burkhart on to help me out, which was a lot of fun. And today we have an excellent guest, Paulo Vitor Damo da Rosa, Hall of Fame Magic player. I don't really need to introduce you, Paulo. You can introduce yourself, obviously. But what's up, Paulo?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you? Hi, everyone.
Doing great. What's your? Are you game designer for Interpop? What's your position in Interpop?
Yeah, I'm a game designer. So same as Corey, except he's senior to me.
Okay, sweet. That's awesome. All right, so we're gonna hop in again. Last week we did kind of like the initial tutorial, kind of learning things as we were going here. Today we're gonna do one bot match to kind of like make sure I actually retain the information because I remember to play for the most part. A lot of really interesting things about this game as far as turn structure and then resource system. Those are the two things that were really interesting to me, especially turn structure, where you end your turn by declaring your attackers and they start their turn by blocking. So it's very, very non-intuitive at first if you're used to other games, but very, very interesting as well strategically, which is really, really cool. So let's dive into a game. We'll play a bot game, and then we'll talk through a little bit and see if I can remember how everything works. And then we're gonna hop into a deck builder today, and we're gonna build our own deck and kind of explore all the cards and see what comes with the free account. And I think for future streams we'll check out the more paid cards, things like that too. So let's go into practice or bot match. Is the better?
You can do a random bot match. Practice is when you can choose your rival's deck, and then there are no rules. Basically, you can play 10 off a card to see how it works. If you want a more representative experience, you should just do a bot match.
Cool. All right, and then we'll select. Last time we played, I think this control deck. I think last time I don't remember actually. Let's play. Let's try the Tinkerer Acolyte control deck. We've not played that one yet, so and then we're good to go, right? Let's fire it up, get in the game. So there's some issues. Obviously, the game is still in beta. I'm sorry, it's not in beta. It just released. I mean, I'm sorry. So it is a freshly released game. It's been out now for a little less than 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Right. So the phone's having a little bit of an issue here or there, whatever. If you're having issues, definitely contact them. I'm sure updates will come out as well. So doing a little troubleshooting in chat. So refresher for the game. I'm gonna just talk through it. If I say something wrong, be like, "Hey Jim, nope, not like that." All right. So
Okay.
there are the multiple factions here. As we were saying, this is the which factions are these?
Tinkerer.
We have Tinkerer and we have
Acolyte.
what was it? Acolyte. Okay,
Acolyte.
So we have the cost up here, and their resource system is over here. You build your resources by playing cards, which is very interesting because you might ask yourself, like, well, if I can't play a card, how can I build the resources? So by playing cards, you build resources. And then there's the wild card thing over here, where when you can't play a card, you can choose to wild card it for a small chance to play it for free. But in doing so, more importantly, you build your resources for the turn. So if I were to wild card the corner man here, I would get a energy, which is the more generic resource, and then the purple resource, which would be here. And I have a chance to get it. And then I can play my cards according to the resources that I already have. Am I in the ballpark right now? Are we doing good?
Yeah. Everything's correct so far.
I know I have like nervous, like, all right, hold on. Did I actually remember this right? Okay, cool. All right, so let's look at our
There'll
hand
be a
here.
quiz later.
And we've got Vanish, which is action. You also have the ability to play your action cards effectively face down over here. And because you are playing it, you build your resources from that as well. The card stays to the side, and then if it has a trap function, it might trap on your opponent's turn. Otherwise, it just stays there, and you can play it at a later point. So once again, it's an ability. It's a way to play a card without playing a card, and therefore to build your resources. And then you also get a resource each turn. As you can see here, the card backs are different. They are card backed to each different faction. So we know our opponent's drawing a blue faction card next turn. And then the top card of your deck gives you a resource of that color. I guess it's at a later point in your turn, right?
Yes. Well, you build a permanent resource for next turn. Sorry. When you play a card or a wild card, you build a permanent resource for next turn.
Okay.
Then at the start of your turn, you get a temporary resource based on the faction of the top card. So right now you have a temporary Acolyte, which you can see there, because your top card is Acolyte.
Got it. Okay. So to start the turn, we have the temporary Acolyte, and then we get, is the energy, do you just get one each turn, or is it, how does that
You
work?
get one because you have a card. on top of your deck. So that gives you an energy and a power equal to defection. So you're always effectively going to get one energy and then one off defection. And when you build, it's the same thing. You build an energy and a power of defection.
Okay, so whenever you get energy from anything, you always get a generic energy and then one of the color of the card you're building.
Yes.
Cool. All right, sweet. So let's pop on through and look at our cards in hand here. So we have the action card here. This is our only currently castable card, and this is an action. Return to our character. So it's unsummoned. Return to the owner's hand, and it's cheap here. It costs the one energy and the one faction color. Obviously, we can't play this right now because there's nothing in play. But like I said, we can put this off to the side and into the face down zone, right? So I would pull this out, play it over here, save for later. Because we played the card, we'll get the pump off of it. Looking at our other cards, we have iBots, which is just a character. It's an 06, similar to Magic, power and toughness. Pretty similar, honestly. Again, there are areas where the game is similar to Magic, which is obviously going to be my audience, Magic players. And then there are areas that are very, very different. So we'll kind of like examining both those and very, very unique and interesting. So an 06 costs 2 energy and then one of the faction. We got a big one here in Aloysius Zeroth, which I said correctly throughout last time, which is pretty cool. And we got a big one here. So this is a huge creature now. Now, this is considered a 6-drop in, right?
Yes, that is one of the things that I think might be the most different at first glance. Because you see this, and in Magic, this will cost 9.
Right.
Right, and here it just costs 6, effectively. You can't always play it on 6 because you need 3 specific ones. But yeah, this is a 6-drop.
Right, because on turn 6, as long as you are building up your resources every turn, you would have 6 energy. You'd also have, some number of faction energy as well. Hopefully 3 of this faction. So on turn 6, you can cast this, making it a 6-drop. But yes, I agree. For a Magic player, it looks jarring to see 6 symbol. So you assume it's a 9-drop. But so we got a big character here. You can't draw cards. Okay. When you are prevented from drawing a card, forge, which means to create something, a random member of the Genesis Squadron and put it into your hand. Cool. And then you can pay 6 effectively. And then the battery is to effectively to use it, to tap it, correct? And then play a member of the Genesis Squadron from your hand. So kind of have like an Elvish Pipery effect here with getting ready to forge random cards. Kind of cool. So instead of drawing a card random, you're drawing a card of a certain subset, which is cool. Decently sized 5/5. That's kind of cool. We see the bigger they are, which is an action. Once again, it's a one-shot spell. Twice, target player discards a random card with the highest energy cost. They discard the 2 highest energy cost cards in their hand. That's pretty sweet. This is a 4-drop. We've got Toxic Fumes. Each rival character gets minus attack and minus on health. It's important to note this is a perpetual effect, right? So this is going to happen and stay. It's not till end of turn.
Yes, and it will even stay through zones. So if you give something -1/-1 and then you bounce it with Vanish later, it will still have the -1/-1 forever.
Cool. So similar to on Arena, a perpetual effect, and also like Marvel Snap. I'm playing a lot of Marvel Snap. And every effect in that game is perpetual in some way. Or if you modify a card, that's it. It's modified forever. So definitely cool. Obviously, a use of a digital space, hard thing to do in paper.
Yes.
And then the last card is the Corner Man, which is a character. It's a 2/4. It's a 3-drop. Has Anticipate, which means it can block cards with evasion. And while the Corner Man is blocking, it has +1 Flurry. Attacks X additional times. Max lessons. Here the card does it. Okay, so basically it does double damage, correct?
Yes, double damage when blocking.
Okay, sweet. So yes, for those who are just tuning in, yes, Paul is one of the designers on the game. And again, if you're just tuning in, this is a game produced by Brian Dave Marshall, Paulo Vitor Damo da Rosa, Corey Burkhart, Zvi Mowshowitz, a lot of Magic players, Interpop, based on the Interpop IP of Emergents, which is a comic book series they run, and it just came out like 2 weeks ago. So they're just coming out now. # sponsored. And let's go. Sweet. So our options here are to play this face down, which will build a resource. And then we can wild card a card if we want to. Now, if we wanted to, we could wild card every card in our hand. And every time you wild card a card, the % chance goes up by 10. Corey informed that's probably not a good idea. Paul, do you agree?
Usually not. I mean, there can be decks that try to do that, but yeah, normally it's very hard to predict when you're going to land. Right. So you can't just be building up to the big one, because what if you're at 40%, you succeed, and that was not the big one. Right. Now it's back to 10.
Right. Okay. So yeah, you can't just kind of like feed the odds and like just expect to hit on the last one, because mathematically you should, but like who knows? So okay. So I think that like we're gonna just play this into the face down area, And again, our goal each turn is you always want to play at least one card because you have to build your resource. So like not playing a card, whether you're wild carding it or facing down it or whatever, is similar. Imagine just like not playing a land and missing a land drop, which is obviously a big deal. So we're gonna put this here, and then should we be wild carding any of these, or just probably pass them a turn?
Well, it's really up to you. Sometimes it's good to wildcard a card, even if you've played something, because you want to build the right resource.
Oh, right. Okay.
So if you want to guarantee playing iBots next turn, the only way to guarantee that is to wildcard a Tinkerer card. But you can also just wait, and if there is a Tinkerer card on top of your deck, you just get that resource for free. So you didn't need to wildcard anything. And then if you miss, you can wildcard something. So it depends on how much you value your curve, basically.
Okay. And then it's important to note also that I put a purple card into this zone here. If I were to wild card a black card, when it comes time for my build step to actually build the resource, I get the energy no matter what. But then I have to choose between getting a black or purple resource, correct? I do not get both.
Yeah, you get to choose one. So it would be better to wait to wildcard something next turn at least, because then you've already built your purple, your Acolyte.
Okay.
But there can be different strategies depending on what you are trying to accomplish in the game. But in your case, I would not wildcard anything.
Okay, yeah. So to then it's not necessary to have as an extra never. So we'll say go. So pass turn. And of course, as you can see now, we're playing as a bot right now. The bots are very patient. This has been about a 6-minute turn one. So we have a good chance to kind of do what we're doing right now, learn the game, kind of go through, and kind of play your games against the bots first, and then work to playing against human opponents later. So we draw our card for the turn. It is a turn of events. This is a trap action. So like I said, an action card, you put it off to the side here, and you can have access to it. But if it's a trap card, it will spring when the condition is met, and then do something. So the trap here is when your opponent plays a card, erase turn of events, which means it just goes away, and then reveal. Rival wild cards. Oh, okay, got it. Rival wild cards the played card. So the next card they play basically ends up they have to wild card it rather than play it, and therefore there's a strong chance they will not get it because right now their wild card percent is 10. That's kind of cool. Okay, so they also played a Daddy-O drone, which is a character bot with evasion. Just a cheap little beater here. It's a 1/2 with evasion, means it can't be blocked by characters that have evasion or the ability anticipate.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or
that's
yeah.
the one. Cool. All right. Sweet. So right now we the only card we can play right now is the turn of events, which would be now. This is an action, but we can't. Does this card not do anything when you play it immediately? Right.
Yeah, it is just a trap. Some traps you have the option of playing normally, and then they get trickier if the trap condition is met. But in this case, this is just a trap. So you cannot just play it. You have to wait for them to do something, and then it will trigger automatically.
Okay. Is it a legal play to just play it?
Yes. The only way it triggers is if it is in that zone over there. So you have to play it so it has a chance to trigger.
But is it a legal play to just like cat? Oh, you can't. It's not highlighted.
Oh, to play and deploy? No. Yeah. No.
Okay.
You can only play it on the left zone there.
Okay, I guess there would be no reason to because you're building the resource either way. So, okay. So right now this is the only card we can actually play. Once again, we have an option to wild card if we want to. Now we have. There's still no card we can play next turn that is black, except for Toxic Fumes, which we might or might not want to play. It's obviously a conditional card. I kind of want to just pop this into the trap zone and just say go again. Is that reasonable?
Yeah, it's definitely reasonable.
And then
again, you have the same choice you did before, right? You can wildcard a Tinker card to guarantee a Tinker resource next turn.
Yes.
Or you can just play it more slowly and play that turn of events. I think both are fine options.
Yeah, so we're at 25. They have a 1 power creature in play. I'm in a huge rush now. So we'll put the turn of events over here. And now it's important to note that your opponent knows the cost of these cards. So when right. So when you play these cards, you are paying the cost for them. And the game obviously checks to let you know because you're obviously playing it face down. And then your opponent knows the total cost of what could have been played for it. Is that correct?
Yeah, the idea is that, you know how many resources your rival has, right? Because it says that right there. And it's turn 2, they're going to have 2. But we didn't want you to have to write down, they played an action on turn 2, so this could cost 2, up to 2, right? And this one they played on turn 3, so this could cost up to 3. but we also didn't want to give away what actually it is by saying the exact cost.
Right.
So what you see however many resources is the most that it could cost. So if you play that card on turn 1, it's going to say 1 because that's the most expensive card you could play. On turn 2, it's going to say 2, even if it is a card that costs 1, right? So if this is turn 2 and you play Vanish, which costs 1, it's still going to show a 2 for your opponent because they know it costs at most 2, but they don't know exactly how much it is. And then if it's turn 7 and you play a card that costs 2 and an action face down, it's going to tell you that the most that it can cost is 5.
Right.
Right. So
also,
basically,
sorry. What was that?
It's doing the job of writing down for you the costs that your opponent can have paid so that you don't have to do that manually.
Cool. And then you could also play more than one at a turn. And if you do, they pile them and batch them and say this whole batch could have cost 6 or whatever. It might be a 2 and a 4, it might be a 1 and a 5, it could be a 2 and a 2, but it could have cost 6, correct?
Well, right now it does not do that. It just tells you both individually could cost up to 6 because one of them could cost 0. So technically,
okay, sure.
It will not batch them. It's just gonna say a 6 on both of them.
Okay. All right, sweet. So we'll play our trap here. So the next card they play is gonna get wild carded, and we'll pass turn. And by doing this, we build a resource. Now we're gonna have 2 purple resources in our resource pool, and then 2 energies also. Let's pass turn. Builds the resources, and the turn ends. So we'll see next turn we'll have 2 energy, 2 purple, and then we'll also get a purple. We'll get whatever the top of our deck is. So we see a second copy of Daddy-O Drone here, which triggers our trap. So our trap goes away, and they're gonna have to wild card this, and they're gonna fail, which makes sense. It's only a 10. So they still played it. They still got the resource. It goes away, and now why didn't their wild card percent go up?
And should have, unless they wild carded.
Oh, right. Okay, so Corey explained this last time. When you're playing graphically, the game updates when you have a chance for an action, but because you're playing against the bot, it doesn't update immediately. It's like a visual bug. They're working on that, right? Okay, so
oh sure, yeah, but it did. You see, now it's at 20.
Right. Yes, it went up as soon as I had a chance to make an action. So they attack for. I'm sorry. They played this first. They played the Slab Worker, which is just a 1/1, 1-drop with Forged. It was created by another effector power, and we're gonna look at. Okay, so this was created by an action card they played. We kind of just missed it as we were talking. Trap. Forged Slab Worker gets +1 attack. A bot was destroyed this turn. And trap when a bot you control is destroyed, deploy. So they just play this card as an action, correct?
Yes. This is one of the traps that you can play and leave it there, and then it will trigger at some point. Or you can just play it from your hand and got the effect, and that's what they did.
Okay. So they cast a spell, and that gave them basically a forged character, which is kind of like a token or whatever, a magic, if you will. And it has power equal to the things that died this turn, which was 1/1. And now they're attacking. And now this is the big one that blows your mind if you're a Magic player. Their turn ends when they attack. So they declare their attacks, and it goes to our turn. So now we draw our card, which is the Abyss, which looks pretty gangster, honestly. It's a pretty nasty looking card. Genesis Squadron Hero, Tree of Life. When it arrives, forge a random Abyss power and put it in your hand. What is an Abyss power?
It's one of several different effects that the Abyss has. Right, so they're all unique cards. You can't just play an Abyss power into your deck.
Okay.
It's usually stuff that is above rate. For example, there's a 2-cost draw 2,
okay,
which would be very above rate in our deck. Okay. Or effects that you don't normally have. Gain control of a character. There's no card that currently does that.
Okay, cool. So
there will be, but
cool. So if it forges a few extra, whenever it arrives, you get a random powerful card in your hand. Cool. That's pretty big too, obviously. Okay, so we draw that. Once again, our top card is purple again. So we get that's the resource we get at the start of a turn. And now we're going to the blocker step. We have no blockers. We have no actions we can play. We could banish here, but I don't think we want to. It's only 1 power, so I think we're just going to take the damage, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Especially because you have the toxic fumes. At some point, you're going to play that, right? And you're going to make everything very small. So.
Right. Okay. I was magic thinking there, like, well, it's a 1/2, it's gonna live, but it'll be an 0/1. So right.
Yes.
Cool. Okay. So we still have our action here. Our bounce effect is available. Now we have 3 energy and 3 purple resource. Again, we're a little off on the black. And once again, we could wild card a black card at any point if we want to try and get that resource, which you probably want to do now at this point, so we can maybe cast the Fumes next turn. We also have the ability to play the Corner Man here. Well, the Corner Man is blocking. Although this thing actually can just block their whole board anyway. So we're probably just going to play the Corner Man, which will use up all of our energy and one of our purples. And then we can maybe we'll just wild card the iBots, try and get our resource going here. It doesn't seem that important. We're kind of like past the middle part of the game, or the early part of the game, and it's just an 06. So my instinct would be to just play the Corner Man and then to wild card the iBots.
Yeah, that's very reasonable. Then you start building Tinker, so you get the 3 Tinker that you need to play the Aloysius Zero.
Right, exactly. Because we have this awesome, crazy legend in our hand, but we need 3 Tinker resources to play it. So we got to get there. And so we'll get 1 from wild carding this, and then 1 from casting this, and then we'll be 1 away. And then hopefully our top card will be a Tinker card at some point. So let's play the Corner Man, which is, again, it's 2/4 with the, it can also block the unblockable creatures, which is cool. And then we're going to wild card the iBots. Is there any, I guess you would want a wild card first in theory just to see if you hit it or not? Like.
Yeah, in this case, it won't really change your plan.
Right.
Right? Yeah, I think you're playing that Corner Man no matter what. But yes, the technically correct play.
Right. Like,
I guess would be to do that.
Like similar to Magic, where it's just like, if you're going to play a card draw spell, play that before you play a different spell. It's not going to matter most of the time, but it's still the correct way to do it. So we'll play this first, and then we'll wild card this. Pop it over here, and failed. Sure. So iBots goes away. Now we can build our black resource. Now we can see our wild card goes up to 20%, which is kind of cool. Played our creature, and I think we're all good. So we played our cards. We go to our next step, which is our build step. We're just going to build our resources, and now here comes the choice. We played 1 card of each type. We don't get both. We have to choose 1, and we're going to choose Tinker. Obviously, we don't have any yet, so we'll choose this. And now our build step. We see now we're starting to build resources over here. We have our next turn. We're going to have 1 Tinkerer, 2 Acolyte, right?
Yes.
All right, 2 Acolyte, and then 3 energy, and that turn was fast. All right, so on their turn, they cast a Young Zeroth, Mysterious Newcomer. Okay, so this is a younger version of his character, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. I'm not up on my Emergents comic book lore, unfortunately, so it's a new IP to me. So when it arrives, draw a card. It's a 3/3. This card seems awesome. Just 3/3 ETB, draw a card.
Well, no, it doesn't draw a card of itself.
Oh, I'm
it's just
sorry.
When another Zeroth arrives. So if you had that and you played the one you have in your hand, then you draw a card.
Okay, so cool, but well sized, and now they can't really attack because obviously I think they can block this and block this. So they say go. There is no combat step, and now we go into our recruit step where we can cast our spells. So top card again is a purple card, and we've drawn a Crime Blotter. Really cool art there. Crime Blotter Scoop Scribe has +1 attack for every revealed card in your rival's hand or deck, and then whenever it arrives, you scout your rival's hand. So you get to see every card in their hand, or see 1 card.
You have to see their whole hand in this case.
Okay. And then it has 1 attack for every revealed card. So that's interesting because it'll be, for right now, if I were to play this, I would see all 5 cards. It would be +5. But then I assume its ability will change as the cards in their hand change, right? So if they play a card, it's no longer revealed.
Yes.
Cool. This card's sweet. All right. However, we cannot currently play that because we're short on it's a 5-drop. We only have 4 energy and right now. And now we have the Bigger They Are, which is the action where they discard a random card with the highest. This card seems insane to me. So this card, the 2 highest cards in their hand, which seems great. Then we have the Shrinky effects, but realistically, like, we can just milk this longer, I think, because the board's pretty stable right now, so we can wait on that. We do kind of want to build up more of our Tinkerer resources to get to this thing eventually, but I don't really feel like we're in a huge rush. In order to do that, we need to lose our Toxic Fumes. So my gut just says just play the old Bigger They Are and him them.
Well, you don't need to lose it because you can't just leave it there and not play it, right?
Oh, right. I forgot about that. Okay.
But you could also just play the other card. I think they're both totally valid.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're not in a rush to play this. I think we're just gonna play the this thing. So this is gonna nab the 2 biggest cards in their hand, which is pretty gross. It's still 5 cards, but I think we're doing pretty good. We're kind of getting into like a little bit of a grindy game here, so the 2-for-1 seems good. So let's fire this thing off. So we're going to play it. We're using it immediately. We could play it here for later, but we want to cast it. So we're going to be playing the action just immediately. And it's going to use 4 energy and 2 of our purple resource. And they go.
Yeah, especially now that you have the Abyss as a 6-drop, right? So you've already built up to 3 Acolyte resources, so you're guaranteed to be able to play that on turn 6 effectively, regardless of the top card of your deck. So you don't need to play the Electric Zerath. And that is a member of the Genesis Squadron, right? It says there Genesis Squadron.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one of the cards that you can forge off of the Zerath, right? Whenever you would draw a card, instead you forge a member of the Genesis Squadron. There are 5 of them, 1 for each faction. They're all 6-drops.
Got it. Oh, but you can get one that's in the colors you aren't currently?
You can.
Right.
And that's why it has the second ability. Or you can wildcard them also, right? Okay. This is... You always have a chance to get them in play, even if you don't have the resources.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, so we were 6-drop lined up. They discarded a strong man, which is only a 4-drop, actually. They had to discard the 2 highest costed cards, and they were both 4-drops. Interesting, so we know their hand's pretty small. Strong man, just a vanilla 3-2 for a 4-drop. That seems pretty bad, right?
It is quite bad. It's one of the base cards that we use for tutorials and to teach people the game.
Cool.
It's not... I wouldn't recommend you add it to your deck.
Sure. The high-level strategy advice. Got it. Okay, and then we got Card Shark, which is the same cost, but it's also a 4-3, and has the ability... Grifter always has a 25% wild card chance. That's kind of cool. A little bit of extra thing. Also really, really cool art there, like the old card trick. It's sweet. All right, so those 2 cards are gone forever, which is great. Or not, it's not forever. They're in the graveyard. But so let's pass the turn. That'll go to our build step. So we'll get the resources based on the cards we played. And now we can attack if we want to, but I would say we don't want to because they have a 3-3, and they can double block also, correct?
Yeah, and in this case, it works like magic.
Okay. So
but interestingly, because you attack, and then it's their turn once you attack, right? And the goal is that you never do anything in your rival's turn. So there's no back and forth of priority or anything like that. So if they double block, you're not going to be assigning the damage manually. The AI will assign damage for you.
Okay.
In the way that it perceives to be the best. So like now if you attack and they block with the 3-3 and the 1-1, it is going to kill the 1-1.
Okay.
Because that's the one thing that it can kill. If you block with the 1-2 and the 1-1, it is going to choose the 1-2 because that's the best one that it can kill. So it makes that decision for you, so you don't have to do anything on their turn.
Okay. And then also important to note is that if I attack with it, it's not tapped. It is exhausted, right?
Well, it will be unready is the term.
Unready.
And then there's depleted, which means it won't get ready for an extra turn. But in this case, it is just it will be unready.
Okay, and if it's unready, it cannot block the incoming attack also. So.
Yes.
Okay, so all in all, I think we're definitely not attacking here, and we still have our action here kind of hanging out. So we'll just fire it up. So pass turn, it's combat, but there was no combat. Their top card is blue. They get a resource, and they play a just 2/2 for 4, just another starter card. And they're coming
it's for 3.
I'm sorry, for 3. Sorry, right. Sorry. I'll probably do that at least one more time. I have no promises there. So they move to their attack step, and then once again, it goes right back to our turn, which is super cool. So our turn, we draw a card for turn. It is another copy of The Bigger They Are, which is a card that I'm a fan of so far. The top card is again a purple card. And now we are about to be in blockers. We do have the action steps. We could play this action if we wanted to bounce this in theory, correct?
Yes, you do. You have a window to do that before you block.
And the window is before blocks and after blocks, correct?
No, you can't do anything after blocks.
Oh, okay.
It's before blocks, then you block, and then it's your main phase, the recruit step.
Okay. All right, cool. So no tricks here. I think we're not going to bounce this. And I think we're just going to block. I see no reason to really not block unless they have some sort of a trick. They have no cards in the trappy zone or whatever. So we're just going to block, right?
Yeah, and in this case, you will just get to kill the character because yours gets flurry when blocking, right? So it's effectively going to deal... It is going to do 4 damage.
Oh, right. So it's the flurry ability. So flurry deals effective double damage. That was a very bad attack from the bottom.
It was not a good attack.
Right.
No.
It was the old Bluffsky, but there aren't really any giant growths in this. So, I respect the attack. I respect it, But, all right, so...
It is the chump attack, also known as.
The old chumps attack. What's up, Steve? Thanks for the reset. Appreciate that. Now they got 3 cards left, and now we have 5 energy and 4 purple and 1 gray or tinkerer. we drew the thingy. We can play the Crime Blotter. It's funny actually because there's a little like anti-synergy here where this card wants to keep the revealed cards in for power. This card wants to get rid of the cards. Again though, I feel like on the stable board, I'm pretty happy just casting this and getting 2 more cards out of their hand. And then if we do this, we can't afford to do anything else. So I guess we're like losing out on a resource we could have used by playing the Blotter. And the Blotter is pretty big though. All right, maybe let's play the Blotter. So Blotter will use all of our energy, 2 of our purples, and leave us with nothing else to do. And then we'll do pass him a turn back. Unless we wanted to wild card something, which I don't think we do. Again, we could wild card the black card to get the resource, but I don't think we need to. So, can I cast the Blotter? Is that cool?
Yeah, yeah. I've also never seen anyone refer to this as the black faction.
Sure, I guess it's gray.
Yeah, everyone says gray.
Sure, that's fair. I thought that's Magic seeping through again, I guess, for sure. But okay. And these things popping up right here. This is part of like the achievements kind of system, right?
Yeah, so the idea is that this is not fully implemented yet. It will be very soon. Is that the cards track their status basically, and they upgrade in Chrome and art and text based on fulfilling certain quests. So the effect is always going to be the same, right? Your Crime Blotter is always going to be that card. It's always going to do that. But it might have a quest that says, once you've scouted 100 cards over its lifetime, you get access to the promo art.
Cool.
Right? So now you can play the promo art or a different font for the words or something like that. So there are a lot of different cosmetics that you can get by just playing with the cards and filling the quests, which are then tradable, right? You can trade a card. For example, if you have a fully quested Crime Blotter that has all the art, but you don't want to play Crime Blotter, you want to play the Abyss, you can trade it for someone's fully quested the Abyss.
Cool. So that's kind of the unique thing about this game is that it's funny because while this is a digital only game and the mechanics are digital only, in a lot of ways it has sort of a kind of a parallel to paper, where in paper you can upgrade your cards, but you own your cards. And the fact that this physical card, like I showed, where is it? It's not here anymore. I have the mountain that Reed won the Pro Tour with a few weeks ago. And I gave him to him. He was going to play 2 draft mountains. I'm like, nah, man. Here's some old Mirage mountains. Go nuts. He wins a PT with them. He gives them back to me. I'm like, please sign them. That'd be really, really cool. So I have his signed Reed Duke mountain that he won the Pro Tour with. And I just have it. It's cool because this is the physical mountain that won the Pro Tour. It's not a different mountain. It's not just any random mountain. It's not, it's the mountain that won the Pro Tour, which is sweet. And the cards in this game are like that, where most digital games, they're not. It's just like, this is just a checkbox. This is a Birds of Paradise, or this is a Thanos, or whatever game you're playing, So the fact is that this Crime Blotter is a unique Crime Blotter, like a physical piece, and then it gets upgraded as time goes on. It's pretty cool, so that's sweet.
Yeah, like you can have stuff like, this is the Lightning Helix. Right,
exactly.
The Cruel Ultimatum that was played.
Yeah.
Which Desettle the Wreckage and stuff like that. Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Sweet. All right, it's cool. So we have that's our Blotter. So we cast Blotter. If you can see right now that it revealed their hand. Their hand is Other Technician, a Neutralize, which destroys a rival action or asset. What is an asset?
Asset is an action that doesn't go away. So it's a continuous effect. In Magic, it would be an artifact or enchantment.
Okay.
Basically. So no one has any of those right now. I mean, in play.
So is it a card that stays in play, or is it like a graphical representation of like a...
It's a card that sits in play. There's an asset that is Boxing Lessons. That is all your characters have +1 attack and +1 health.
Okay.
Right, so that just sits in play and it applies while it's in play. It never goes away. Okay. Unlike the actions, which are one-shots that you can do at any time you want.
Okay, and then when this is destroy target rival's action, how can they destroy an action? Is it like a counter spell, or is it like destroying the card that's over here?
It destroys a card that's over there. Okay. So now, what they see here, they see a face-down card that is Acolyte, and it's going to have the 1 in it because you played it on turn 1, right? So they have the ability to target it and destroy it, even though they don't know necessarily what it is, because they know it is an action. The assets are always face-up. So the only thing that can be is an action, so they can destroy it if they want to.
Okay. So this can kill this sort of thing, and then we have an iBoss, which we have in our hand, or we had in our hand also. So they ran some stuff, and we can see here we have a +3 to the power because of this, and that's a variable. So once they play more cards, it'll shrink and then grow. And we can somehow reveal more cards in their deck. Is there a way to see, like, So in Magic Arena, when you click their deck, it like fans the whole thing out, and if for some reason you know their 7th card because it's approached Second Sun, you see it face up. Is there a way to kind of fan the cards out in this? Is there a way to reveal cards that aren't just top or bottom? How does that work?
Yeah, there are ways to see the cards in their deck. There are cards that, for example, there is a card that is a 2/2 character for one that when it attacks, you scout a random card from their deck.
Okay.
Right, and then you can click on their deck and see the card. But you don't see where it is. You only see where it is if it is the top card.
Okay.
So you can't, like, if you've scouted 15 cards from their deck, you're not going to look and map the order of their next 15 draws. Right? But you will always know what the top card is if you know it.
Okay, cool. So kind of just like removing that bookkeeping headache of like having to memorize the whole order or whatever it is. Just like it's either the top card or it's just in there somewhere.
Yeah, that is one of the things that you get for having a designer team that's played these games for 20 years, right? There are certain things that really annoy us that we don't want to put other people through. So the idea is that, yeah, you don't have to do this memorizing or planning super ahead with their next 10 cards.
Right.
If you know the top card, you will know that you know. Otherwise, you can look at whatever is in their deck, but you won't know the order.
Got it. It's kind of like, wasn't there like a Star Wars TCG like a million years ago where like one of the primary mechanics was like putting the cards on the bottom and like the good players would like just memorize every card stacked up? I don't know if you ever like were familiar with that at all, but like I feel like back in the day at my Magic store, 15 years ago, people talk about that game, how like if you were good at it, you'd memorize all your cards and stuff. It sounded really like, I was like, I could never do that.
Yeah. I've never played that, but even in Magic, like when you have scrying, right? Some games go super long and you start hitting the cards that you scryed. You're like, oh, I should have put this in a different order or something. And Arena will tell you those.
Right.
But in paper it won't.
Cool. Okay, so hands revealed. We have our creature, and we've already recruited things we can do. We spent all our resources, so we're going to go into our next build step, and now.
Oh, this is another thing. When you scout a card, you can also build a resource of that card's faction.
Oh,
so
wow.
You scouted their hand, and they had Tinker cards, right, and Strong Arm.
Okay.
So you get to build either a Tinker or a Strong Arm or an Acolyte because you played Acolyte. So there are certain cards that will let you steal your rival's cards. For example, there's a card that says steal a scouted card or steal a revealed card. In that case, it will be helpful to build the resources. And then access fixing, right? In this case, you could build Tinker even though you played an Acolyte card.
Got it. So it kind of reminds me, for a Magic analogy, of Nightveil Spectre, where you're playing mono black, you attack with a Nightveil Spectre, and you hit a green card, but then you hit a Forest next turn. Now you can play a Forest, kind of play the green card kind of thing.
Yes.
Cool. Okay. All right. So I guess we're not going to do that. We want to build our Tinkerer to build up for our 3 Tinkerer 6-drop. So we'll build Tinkerer here.
And yeah, here it just acted as fixing, right? Because in theory, you did not play a Tinkerer card. So you would not be able to build a Tinker resource if you hadn't scouted a Tinkerer card.
Got it. So that's cool. All right, sweet. So we have our attacker. We're not going to attack, and then we're just going to pass the old turn seed. So they draw. They get their resource from that. They play their 2/2. They play the 06. And now they got a nice big board here, which is feeling like you might want to get into our toxic fumes sooner enough. All right, so we draw another copy of the Abyss. Our top card is gray, so we get our gray resource as well. And now we have a lot of resources. We have 6 energy, 3 of each. Slow our trap. Now because they played the cards that were revealed. Excuse me. This thing's only a 3/6, and they have an 06. So I guess we're gonna play one of our huge creatures now, right? This one you can't draw cards. You can play things. And then this one is a 6/6, and then forges are bigger. So I think we're gonna play the Abyss here, right?
Yeah, I think that's probably better. You can also just attack through the 06 without you needing to do anything else, right?
With 6/6, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And now, even though this is a specific character, is it like a legend in Magic? Can I have more than one in play?
Oh, you can have as many as you want to play. Yeah, there's no legend-like mechanic.
Okay, sweet. So let's play. Chat says the love child of Daredevil and Batman.
It is sort of what the character is. Yeah, it is a very cool character. I think it is currently the most popular character in the game because we have obviously there's the comic series, and then you can vote on which characters you'd like to appear in the future and stuff like that. And the Abyss wins the most votes, I think.
Sweet. All right, Abyss it is. All right, so Abyss comes down, triggers, and we're going to forge a random Abyss power in our hand, and we're going to get Abyss's Strike, which is a 4-drop. It is forged, which is because it's forged. Destroy, so just terminate. Destroy target character. Cool. Seems very powerful. And then we are done. This can't attack, and we can't. This is not a very good attack. And we got our unsummon is still here, kind of just hanging out. We don't really need to use this right now. I guess we could, in theory, like bounce the 06 attack with my this thing, and they just block. Yeah, whatever. Switch thing up. So I think we're good to go here, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Best turn scheme. And obviously, we're playing this game extremely slowly as I talk through everything. This game, what's the average game usually take time-wise?
I mean, I would say the average is probably 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay.
Some games, I have played some games that took like 25 minutes, but they're quite rare. And obviously, some games are much shorter. So, yeah, I would say in the 10, 12, 15 at most range is.
Okay. And then is it usually best of one?
Yeah. The whole ladder thing is best of one. When we have tournaments, which we want to have very soon, because we're very competitive players that like tournaments, so we want to add that. Then there might be different formats. You know, we might do best of one in the Swiss, and then there's a top 4 with best of 3 or something. But if you're going to play right now, it is always going to be best of one. Yeah, there's no sideboarding or anything.
All right, cool. So no attacks. Pass turn. All right, I guess it goes to their turn. Again, there's the attack step, but nothing happened. Top card's gray. What was this card? Is that a shark cat? Cool. This is a villain. Dr. Tessera, experimental geneticist. When your wild card fails, if it is usable, what is that? That means already got it. Okay, so if it hasn't been used for combat or things like that, use it, and each character you control gets +1 attack. That's a permanent pump, right?
Yes, permanent.
Okay, so basically every time you fail a wild card, you can use this and then pumps your team. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so that card's pretty good. All right, so we draw for our turn. We draw another iBots. Top card is gray. Now you can see our resources are really starting to go crazy here. We have 7 energy, 4 purple, 3 gray. Lots going on. Can we double spell it yet? We have 3 and 4. So in theory, we could double spell here, right? We could go fumes and something else.
Yeah.
Right. So let's just go nuts here. Let's just get the last 2 cards in their hand, and then we'll Abyss Strike the 2/5, and then attack with the.
Well, that you can't do, right? Because that would take 8 resources, and you only have 7. What you like if you? Oh, sorry, you said you can't Abyss Strike and get rid of their 2 cards.
Okay, got it. So it's got to be so we can fumes. Yeah. So what's maybe fumes? Their blocks are terrible too. So because they'll have a total of 3 power in play. So
yeah.
So yes,
you can do. It's not necessarily right, but you can bounce their character and then play the bigger they are.
Oh, that's
right,
true.
because you know it is going to be one of the more expensive cards in their hand because they have a 2-drop, so it's going to go away for sure. That would be a way of getting rid of it without getting rid of the removal spell.
I like that. I had totally forgot this was here. So all right, cool. and this is free because we already paid for it before. So we made our down payment, and then now we're just gonna cash it in.
Yeah. Basically, you already. The idea is that because you need to play cards to build resources, we didn't want to be in a spot where I have this removal spell, but they don't have anything, or I don't want to use it here. Like it's a bad character, so you can always just prepay it, leave it there, and then do it.
So it's sort of like Seal of Fire, but they don't know what it is. So it's the downside to Seal of Fire, of course, is that you play Seal of Fire. You have it, it's available, you already paid for it, but now it's face up and they can play around it. So it's a way to kind of have that effect without having the face up part of it.
Yeah.
Cool. So what's bounces over here? Vanish, get out of town. And then we're going to
and you see this is a card that you know about, it's revealed, right? Because it was in play. So that will also pump your Crime Blotter.
Oh right, yeah. Okay, so this is 4
Though if you discard it, it won't pump it anymore. But
right. So let's see. So if we were to play the fumes shrinks everything. This is only 4 power. Can't get through the wall anyway. I guess we committed now because we bounced this. We gotta play this card. So I guess we'll just play this and nuke their hand. Lose that, and then the other card. So we have the mystery card is cheaper than. It's 3 or less, right? Or sorry, 2 or less. And then
2 or less.
Now our attack isn't even that good. They still have 6 power. So, oh, I can play this too.
Yeah,
I can play everything. I'm sorry. So, yeah, we're good. So, what's fumes and just attack?
Yeah, you could.
Cool.
Then they can't really do anything about it.
So, fumes shrinks everything on their side by 1 attack and 1 health. Kills the low one. Now they got some small ones here. I assume negative is just nothing, right? It's not like negative damage or whatever, right? Or... The negative.
Yeah, no, it is just going to be 0. But if it gets pumped, it will go to 0.
Got it.
Right. So it tracks that so that.
Right. All right. So we're gonna build. I guess we'll build our third Tinkerer. Build up for our thingy. Attack for 6. This can just. I guess we in theory could just attack with everything because they have very little power to attack back with. They can block one of these here and then take the 2. Attack with everything. Send in the clouds.
Yeah, I like that.
So they are all unready now, so they can't block, but they have no attackers. And now once again, we pass turn, middle of combat, and they tried to wildcard a Toxic Fumes, the card we just cast to shrink our stuff. It failed, and now they are going to double block the 6/6. Okay, so those die. They get some 1/1s, and now they're firing back at us. All right, so the
boss is a bit weirder for double block.
All right, so we draw a Dislike, action destroy target character, and then you can. Okay, so this is cool. I know Corey mentioned this card last time. So this is a kill spell. It's a 5-drop kill spell, and it just I didn't change the thing. Oh shit, sorry. Hold on a second. I didn't change the stream section. Go. Sorry. Sorry. 1 second.
It's an interesting. Yep. It's Oathbreaker.
Cool. All right. Anyway, so Dislike is it's an action spell, kills a character, and then if you opponent wild cards a card, this can kill it for free, which is important because obviously the first thing I said when the wild card thing was explained to me was like, well, what if I play Ulamog on turn 1 or whatever, So this is a kind of a safe gap against that where you have this card that's a kill spell, but it'll be free if they wild card. It gets to kind of like play against that. So cool. All right. So
yeah, it is. It is also the first thing I said when I applied for the job. Mm-hmm. Because I applied, I didn't know the rules of the game, right? The game wasn't out yet. Mm-hmm. And then Zvi explained the rules of the game to me, and I was like, well, this is really stupid. What if I just wildcard Emrakul on turn 1?
Right.
And I think it is a very common reaction. But the thing is that if you were to put this rule in a game like that already exists, like Magic, Hearthstone, or whatever, it would totally not work. Right. But because the game is designed with this rule in mind,
right,
then there are a bunch of safeguards, and it actually works, right? There are cards like Dislike that get rid of a wildcard card for free. But then there are also cards that have specific wildcard effects, right? So they do something different if you wildcard them than if you play them, right? So you might have this, 8-cost card that has the effect of a 4-cost card if you wildcard it.
Got it.
Right? And yeah, and there are characters that, are very strong, but requires a certain amount of resources. So like they only become strong on turn 5 on. So there are a bunch of safeguards for that. I promise it is... We have that in mind when we designed the whole game.
Cool. Okay, so we draw that. So once again, we're attacking. Now, because we're in the before blocker step, this is a chance where we can play our action cards. We're not going to, obviously, here, but we have an option to do that. Move to blocks, and we're just we're gonna misclick, I guess. I misclicked. So I guess, what did I do? Why didn't it let me block? Oh, were they?
Well, everything was
right.
Yeah,
got it. Sorry. So I'm used to obviously seeing cards tapped. So they were unready from the prior turn's attacks because they attacked, they couldn't block. It definitely takes a look into used to as far as turn structure goes. Because you think to yourself, oh well, it's my turn, all my stuff untapped or unready or whatever in some way. So we'll take the 2 though, so no problem. So but now these things can't block, but they wouldn't block anyway because they're small. So now we're racing, but we have a 6/6 and they have some 1/1s, which is cool. We got a bunch of resources here. Now we could play a second copy of the Abyss if we want to. And we can also maybe ready up the Dislike. Nope, we have 8 energy, so 6, 8. So we can go like second Abyss, iBots, and just attack with everything. Seems pretty reasonable, I guess.
You can play the Abyss or the Oasis, either works.
You can't. Oh, sure, let's play this card. So if I play this, yeah, I have 4 gray energy now, so play this.
Yeah. Because the top card is gray.
Got it.
Right?
Yep.
So your temporary one was gray.
Let's play this. And then we go to combat and send. Will they, so, end a turn. Now it goes to their turn. They draw their card. They get their resource off the top. And then pow, pow, pow. No blocks. And they're going to recruit into play a Gremlin, Computer Whisperer. Okay, let's read this first. When your turn starts, you get plus 10% wildcard chance. When you successfully wildcard a card, destroy this. That's kind of fun. Okay. So you got a cool little 1-drop there. Gets your wildcard chances up. So now on our turn, we triggered our Aloysius. So we didn't draw a card. Instead, we forged a random member of a Genesis Squadron and put it into your hand, which is a Aloysius Zeruf NFT SB first.
Yeah, that is a promo art. It's the same character.
Okay.
But you said that the art is different. It's a promo art.
Got it. Okay.
But that is something that is in. We're still working on it exactly, but it is the same character. It is going to have the same name very soon.
Okay, so
but it has a different name because it's a promo art. But it's effectively, for all intents and purposes, the same card.
Got it. Okay, so this is what a card would look like later on once you've like powered it up the cosmetics and so on and so forth, and like made it look cooler.
Yes, effectively.
Got it. Okay, so we should the same card basically. So they have some 1/1s. I mean, at this point we're just like destroying them obviously, so we'll just play some more stuff and win the game. So let's play this, and when it arrives, we'll forge a cool card. We get a Abyss's Infiltration. Scout all of your rival's cards in hands or play. So this would reveal their action cards too.
Yes.
Cool. That's kind of cool. Okay. So that would also pump up my my thingy a little bit. So we'll just cast this, I guess. I mean, it's like a low impact card, but sure. Play this. Take a little looky-loo. We see a Crowbar, which is that card's fun. You draw a card and then wild card a card. I like that. All right, so
yeah, it's a looter that you can get your card.
Yeah, that's sweet. Okay, so combat. We'll make a whatever. Not that one. This one. Sure. This, and we're just I guess the 06 can stay home. Send it. So goes to their turn. When turn starts, you get up the wild card chance. So they're at. They should be at 40. It's just the little glitch, so whatever. So block some stuff. They take a bunch. They're at 6. Replenish step, and then recruit step. Yeah, so we're wrecking them basically.
Yes, you're in a good position. The advantage bar is all the way.
Yeah, all the way over there. Yep. All right, so we get the Abyss. So same card, different art, same idea. It is a cool looking character. That is pretty cool. The Batman Daredevil definitely mashup comparison is a pretty apt one. Definitely has got the good vibes, and both vibes in good ways too. So, all right, so yeah, we're just gonna kill them, I guess, right? Just play this, and when it revives, 4 random power. Ooh, that's a big one. Okay, the 10-drop Abyss's Enlistment. Take control of target character. That's gas. And this is not a real card. This is a card you can only access through this card, correct?
Yeah. All the Abyss powers are currently cards that only exist through playing the Abyss.
Okay, cool. All right, so just oops, let's do this. Maybe we'll put one of these over. Oh, I can't do that. Hold on. Put this like here or whatever. Just pay for it. Spend our whatever, and just send. And yeah, so we're crushing this game. Let's finish this off. Rival turn, no cards. That card better be really, really good. It's on their blocks, and they dead. All right, cool. So overall, I think good refresher. I think I've got pretty good handle on things for the most part. A few questions here and there, of course. Obviously, we're victorious. Yes, great.
Good job.
So the next thing I'd like to do is hop into the deck builder and kind of like see what we can do. So I've kind of obviously been reading cards. I like to go in and kind of just get a little peek and just build a deck and see what we can do. Sorry, the sounds are a little off. I know the audio is a little difficult to do with things. Sorry. I guess
this is getting changed next build.
What is the audio?
Yeah, we're making the thing better.
Okay, sure. So yeah, it's unfortunately I have to have the computer audio loud enough so we can hear Paulo. I'm gonna eventually stream setup wise get a mixer and figure out the mixing better. So whenever I have guests on, like I have to turn the volume up for them, but it turns up the soundboard volume, the sound effect volumes, and everything else too. So I apologize. Sorry. All right, so let's go into our collection, right? And we'll go into. This is kind of cool. Let's speak over here. Let's look at this board real fast. This is pretty cool. So you have two options for boards. It's kind of cool. Okay. And then avatars. This is funny. Corey, if you're still in chat, while we were playing, in the middle of the game at some point, I was like, "Oh, Corey, we can change our avatar, right?" He's like, "Yeah, you can." But every time I think to do that, by the end of the game, I forget, and I never do. And obviously, we never mentioned it ever again. It didn't change the avatar. So let's be. Aloysius here is kind of cool. Right, let's do that. And so now you look at our cards. Or we can look at
all the tutorial characters.
Okay, and then you get more by just playing more, or how do you get more?
Well, currently these are the ones that exist.
Oh, okay, cool.
Right, so you can't get more, but there will be certain things. We had some special boosters with promo art from the comics, straight from the comics that existed a while ago, and they had some avatars in them, and we plan on having more avatars later on. Cool. But currently, this is what we have.
Yeah, it's the starter set, and then we're going to be obviously expanded on in cool ways. So, so we got decks and cards. I guess the best thing would be look at the cards first, and then we'll kind of think about what kind of deck we want to build and go from there.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, you can tell me what type of deck you want to build, and I can give you some direction, or I can just leave you to explore and build whatever you think is cool. Okay, either way it works.
We got some volume mixer feedback here. I can actually lower it in Windows. Let's see if this works. Sorry for the tech stuff, folks. Live stream. We're doing it live as always. All right, so let's see. We'll just kind of like I'll peruse through the cards and we'll see what catches my eye. Maybe, and then we'll kind of go from there. So we got the cards are sorted by their factions. Once again, the factions, there are 5 factions. The red faction is the
Sculptors.
Right, and the sculptors are the ones their cards often conjure different things, right? They kind of like create like conjured cards or extra things, right?
Yeah, there is a forging sub-team. If you go to Fire Razor and inspect it, the one on the left, here in middle left, yeah, so that card gets buffed for each forged card you control, for example. So that is one of the sub-teams of the faction.
Cool. Okay. And then we have the purple one is one we just played, Acolyte, which Thoughtseize. Cool. I like Thoughtseize.
It's a bit different.
It's a little different. Okay, so this one's a trap card, and when your rival draws a revealed card, put the drawn card into your hand. You steal the card. So it's actually Thoughtseize. Like the magic Thoughtseize is just like it's more like get rid of that. This is actually steal your thought.
Yes, it is. If I say so, better named for what I imagine a Thoughtseize is.
Sure, yeah, that's cool. All right, sweet. So this combination is all about kind of like stealing your stuff, revealing your stuff, very sneaky kind of thing, right? Recount every opposite card. If your opposite energy available, erase the played card. That's a cool trap. So if they tap out or something or whatever, tap out. I guess sorry, magic nomenclature, but
yeah, effectively that.
Then cool. That's kind of cool. Okay, so very tricky. Okay, Tail of the Tape. What's this card do? Scout 5. Now this is interesting to me. So this card is you scout 5 cards per deck. You should see 5 cards. As we saw, obviously there are benefits to scouting cards. But as a Magic player, I see this card and I see this card doesn't do anything. For a 2-drop spell, it doesn't like draw you a card. Doesn't put a resource in play. All it does is improve your other cards. Is that how valuable is scouting a card, essentially?
It depends on your deck. There are a lot of different cards that are payoffs for scouting, right? If you go to ASMR, for example, on the right, that if you scout a card, it gets plus attack and plus health. If you go to Bookworm, 1 row down, it makes scouted cards cost more.
Okay. Oh, that's kind of cool.
So it's 2 things, right? You get the strategic, well, it's actually 3 things. You get the strategic ability to know what is in your opponent's hand and deck, right? Which can obviously be valuable, right? Like Detect and Probe style. You also get to build a resource of the faction that you scouted, so it can act as fixing. And you have certain cards that benefit from scouting cards, right? There is a card, for example, that we released quite recently that you won't find there, but it is Secret Admirer. It's a 1/1 for 1, but when they draw a revealed card, it gets +4/+4, right?
Cool.
So it's effectively becomes a 5/5. And if you have a card like Tail of the Tape, it helps you get there, right? Because you scout more cards from their deck.
Okay, so it's also the kind of thing where like I need to think of the cards a little differently in that the cards have more of an effect than the text just written there. The effect of this card is scout 5 random cards and build a resource as well, because that's an important factor too.
Yes, yeah, it will let you fix your factions. Yes.
Right. Okay. Cool.
So you don't build an extra one. It's not ramp, right? Because you still only build one, but it is fixing.
Right. Okay. So that's the purple. The yellow faction is, I forgot.
Nonstop.
They're the fast, kind of like aggressive faction, right?
They're not necessarily aggressive. I mean, they are, but it's sort of a mix. Yeah, they're the fast people, but also the teleporters and the people who deal with time and space.
Okay.
Right. So the more time themed cards are usually control based cards, and the more speed themed cards are more aggressive cards.
Got it.
But obviously, there's no direct correlation, right? But no, 100% correlation. But they sort of have the ability to do both things. Right. It is somewhat of a polarizing faction, though, in which cards are like either aggressive or control-ish, rather than in the middle.
Okay. And then moving on to the blue faction, which is, we just did this. Sorry.
Strong Arm.
Strong Arm. Okay. And they are, what's their deal?
They're just stronger in general, right? So the characters are a little bit beefier than normal. In terms of gameplay, they deal with wildcarding a little bit, right? So you saw the card shark, the one that always gets plus 25% when it's wildcarded, right? And then the action you just hovered, stack the odds, just gives you an extra 25% wildcard chance. And then there's Crowbar that draws in wildcards. So wildcarding is sort of a sub-theme for them, but they're also where you're going to find most pump spells and the more resilient and the stronger characters. Like the Metrodome, for example, it costs 3, so it's a little bit further down. Yeah, that one. It's a 3 cost 5/4, right? Okay. Which is way above curve. You will not find something as strong as this in other factions.
Okay.
So
big stuff and wildcard stuff.
Yes, basically.
And now we have the Tinkerer faction, which is what we saw in play, obviously. And what's their deal?
The biggest thing is bots, right? It is the biggest tribe that we have in the game right now is bots. So there are a bunch of cards that have bot synergies. Like you can easily play a bot deck. They also have some wildcarding things, but it is usually, when you wildcard, do X rather than necessarily being easier to wildcard. Though there's some stuff that makes it easier to wildcard too. There's some card drawing. So there's removal. They're very versatile. I think they might be the faction that does the most different things.
Okay.
Right now. But yeah, the deal lore-wise is that they are, they manipulate things on a molecular level a lot of times. So you have DNA, people who manipulate DNA or technology or machines.
Okay.
And stuff like that. So they're like super smart people. So they do a bunch of different things.
A little sacrifice theme going on here. You can sacrifice your own bots and draw cards.
Yeah, or destroy theirs and they'll draw cards.
Okay. It's kind of cool. Reprogram, take control of rival action or asset. Got it. Okay. And that's it. That's all the factions. All right. So I think that my instinct is I want to see the limits of the wild card mechanic. So I'd like to build a deck that is doing wild cardy things. So I think that would be the blue faction, correct? And just kind of like see, I don't know, we see at the wild card a card, increasing the odds to wild card things, and then we put some big boomers in there. Now, as far as how many colors you can play, is there like a what you should do, shouldn't do kind of thing, or what's the?
So the rules for colors are like this: you start with 5 cards, and then +1 for each faction that you have. And to count as a faction, you need to have 10 cards of that faction.
Okay.
Right. So, and the minimum card limit in the deck is 40.
Okay.
And the game is 40. So if you're playing 4 factions, 10 cards of each faction, then you're going to get 4 extra cards.
Okay.
Right. And if you want to play 5 factions, they have to go above the limit. So, but the way the game works is you generate a resource based on the top card of your deck.
Right.
Right. So obviously, if you have 4 factions, it's going to be harder to get the resources, the right resources at the right time.
Right.
So you're going to have to wildcard more to build resources, which is why we give you extra cards. So if you're trying to wildcard a lot, then you can play more than 2 factions because you don't get hurt as much by not having the right factions because you're wildcarding anyway.
Okay.
Right. So people like, there's some people, like Grum, for example, which is an established player, as established as you can be for a game that's 2 weeks old. Right. But it's one of our most active players. Uh-huh. He has a 5-faction wildcard deck he really likes, and he picked Kibler on stream with it last time that Kibler streamed. Uh-huh. And then it's all of a sudden became really popular in the game, right? So you can do 3 or 4 or even 5 if you want to build a wildcard deck specifically.
Okay.
If you are trying to build a more normal deck, I would say 2 is by far the most common.
Okay. Is being monocolored like a thing you don't want to do? It's just not worth it, or?
It can be. There are not that many incentives for being monocolored right now, right? In the sense that there are not many cards that cost 3 and 3 specific that you wouldn't be able to play if you weren't monocolored.
Okay.
But the big thing is that if you have 1-drops in your deck specifically, having a 1-drop is really good, right? Because you don't have to wildcard on turn 1.
Right.
So most of the time, if you wildcard on turn 1, the card is gone.
Yeah.
Right. You get 10% wildcard chance for it, but the card is gone a lot of the time. And if you can play a 1-drop, then you don't need to do that because you're going to build a resource normally. And if you're playing a 2-faction deck, you're only 50% to play your 1-drop, right? Because you have to hit the right faction off your 1-drop. And if you're a mono-faction deck, then you're 100%, right? Every time the 1-drop is in your hand, you'll be able to play it. So that is the biggest advantage of being a mono-faction right now. And sometimes you don't even want a different faction. For example, if you're playing an Acolyte deck, you can build a Scout deck, right? Which is with a lot of cards that reveal cards and get bonuses off of their cards. There aren't many Scout-based cards in other factions, right? They're usually in Acolyte. So maybe you just fill 40 cards with Acolyte, and that's good enough. Right? If you want to play a bots deck, it could just be Tinker, because the other factions don't have bots.
Mm-hmm.
But normally I would say, for someone who's just starting, I would definitely recommend 2 factions. I think that is the default. That is why you're going to play against the most on ladder. But for a wildcard deck, you could experiment a little bit more.
Okay. I like this. Let's try with Scout idea. Let's keep it simple for the first deck. Let's build the Scout synergy. I've always liked synergy decks in Magic. Decks that are kind of like more than some of their parts or whatever. So let's try that. Let's try and use the Scout mechanic, and maybe we'll just be a mono Acolyte deck. So let's look at the cards and see how does deck building work. As far as you go to decks and just go to create. Okay. My first deck. And we'll create new. This is where you build decks. Right click on a card to inspect. Left click to add to your deck. Inside your deck, click on the plus to add a copy, and X to remove 1. Cool. And maximum is 4 copies. Got
3.
3.
Maximum is 3.
Starting I'll be variable anything position. It'll be 4 cards plus 1 marker action. Okay, I'm just stuck with that. Minimum 40 cards. Max 2 copies. Is there a deck maximum?
No, not technically. I think if you were to go into the very high numbers, it might give you an issue right now.
Right.
But no. Effectively, no.
Yeah, I know in Magic Online back in the day there wasn't really a cap, and but you could load this 900 card deck and then it would just chug. It would hardly be able to play it. So that's
something like that can happen if you have a 900 card deck, but there's no technical limit right now.
Correct. Yeah. So it's sort of like in paper too, where you can build a 1,000 card deck, but if you can't shuffle it, you can't play it. So if the computer can handle it, and so on and so forth. So Corey's in chat says, I would not suggest playing 900 card decks. So you know what that means, folks. Get your game on, start building a 900 card deck, and try and break the program.
Right now it would literally be impossible because I don't think we have 300 different cards.
Oh, that's fair.
And you can only add 3 of each card, so we're safe from the 900 card gamers.
Sweet.
But
cool. Okay, so and then also the cards I have right now are the base free set, right? And then you can buy cards also on the site that are not in the base sets, correct?
Yeah. Cards are released daily, every weekday. Right now, so we release 5 new cards per week.
Oh, that's cool.
And you can buy them directly, so there are no boosters or anything.
Right.
You just buy singles, and then you can sell them back to us for 90% as well. So it is sort of like renting. If you want to try out a card and then you play, you decide you didn't like it, you can sell it back.
Cool. Yeah. I think I'm going to go over that in more future stuff on the video I do as well. But it is pretty cool that you're essentially the game is a secondary market. So instead of like in Magic where you'd buy a Steam Vents for whatever, $20, and then you play a tournament with it, you decide you want to build a rule deck, you like to sell it to a dealer, and they give you half price what you just spent 6 hours ago or whatever. In Emergents, you are actually dealing with Interpop directly, and you always get 90% back on your. So any card you buy, you can always sell back for 90%. It's not like Marvel Snap or Arena where once you put money in, it's gone. Like you might have an account with a bunch of cards in it, but you know there's no your money's gone. It's not invested in something or whatever. And also the ability to kind of get out. Like, you know, I mean, when BDM was first pitching the game to me for the sponsorship, he was like, it's like in Magic where if your catalytic converter in your car goes, well, you can grab a modern binder, sell some fetch lands, and go pay for it. You know, whereas you know in most digital card games, the money is just sunk, which is kind of cool. But again, we'll go over that a little bit later. I think as far as for now, we're gonna work with the base set stuff. So let's filter out all of the non-purple cards and just kind of go through and take a look and looking for cards that have Seek on them. Basically, we're gonna do like, you know, the things or Scout. I'm not Seek. I'm sorry, Scout. So we got the freshman here. Over attacks, Scout a random card from your Rebels deck. So you're saying 1-drops are important. This is a 1-drop. It's a 2/2, which is pretty well sized. I think this card's pretty good, right?
Yeah, I like that card.
I mean, wait. Why does it allow? It lets you add more. Is there like a freeform mode?
Yeah, there is. You can play practice mode, then you can play as many copies as you want, but cool. It's not going to let you queue into the bot queue or a player if you have more than 3.
All right, so now this card's interesting though, because like we were saying, in order to play your opponent's cards, you need to build the resources for them too. So this card still seems sweet though. This card's going in. All right, so Thoughtseize. We got Trouble Seeker. This is just like a starter card, right?
Yeah, not that
just
good.
Worse in every way than the freshman is. That's fair. It's important, you know, Eager Cadet. And it's funny, actually, when I first started playing Magic, it was like the 7th edition starter kit. And 7th edition, for some reason, Visitrex and Trained Armadon are both rares. And they're both just 7 mana vanilla 6/6s. And it actually, like, it confused me for a while on rarity in the game. Because I was like, I don't get it. Like, why is this a rare? So, like, are rare cards actually better, or I didn't get it at first? So it's kind of funny, but whatever. So,
you weren't in on the joke
in some way, you know. So okay, so we got Vanish, the Unsummon. I guess Vanish. I don't know. I'm not big on the Vanish effect. We got Bina, Concealed Messenger, character, hero, and gets unblockable. Remove this ability. Unblockable means so basically it gives it unblockable, but you can't activate it again. So if some other card were to remove the unblockable, you could not get it a second time.
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly a quality of life thing, because if it is in play, it is going to blink to let you know that you can use the ability. Yeah. And when it's already unblockable, we don't want it doing that. So it gets removed. But yeah, if something can remove unblockable, which currently nothing can,
sure,
then you won't be able to gain it again. But it's basically a one-shot. It becomes unblockable forever.
Cool. Right? So I have a huge amount of respect for that. Because I know, like certain cards, like Viashano Pyromancer in Magic, it's a 2/1. When it comes into play, deal 2 damage to a player, and you target your opponent 99.999% of the time. Because it's worded like that, you have to click your opponent every time. It's like an extra click every single time, and it seems so minute. It's just like, oh, who cares? 1 click. But if you play a lot, that's hundreds of clicks and hundreds of extra little actions. It just makes the game feel less smooth. So big props to having things like this, which are paying attention to that. So cool. All right, so we got Recount. This is a trap. Whenever I plays a card, if they have no energy available. So this seems pretty sweet. So like if they tap out for a big thing, it just counters it essentially, which is cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's a double-edged sword, right? Because sometimes they're just not going to tap out. Right. They're going to play. They're going to have 5. They're going to play a 4 and won't do anything. But you also. They can't bait it very well, right? With the other ones, like the turn of events, they could just play the worst card first if they suspect you have it. And then with this one, well, it's much harder to bait.
Sure.
Okay. Right? And if you can have, they're never going to know which one it is. Right. Unless they test it. Basically.
Okay. So we got the Rising Vigilante, which is vanilla 3/2, which is a starter card. Scarlet Tiger. It arrives unready. Okay, and then it has the ability, another character gets +1. So I guess this is going to get buff your creatures. This doesn't really seem in line with our scouty stuff. Sleeper Grip, deplete target non-attacking character and draw a card. Okay, so this mostly is going to be removing blockers, essentially, or stopping abilities.
Well, deplete means that it's not gonna be ready for an extra turn.
Oh, okay.
So it is like the magic cards that tap and they don't untap for a turn.
Got it.
Right? So you can use it to remove a blocker once.
Okay.
Sorry, a blocker twice or an attacker once.
I've always liked cards like this in Magic, but let's put one there. Maybe we'll come back to that a little bit. It's Tail of Tape. It's just the scout. I'm a slamming threes in here. I'm just we're gonna go all the way. Whenever I build a deck in Magic, I want to just take this energy, put the dial to 11, and then we'll dial it back later and see how but I want to see how it plays at the maximum amount. So, turn events trap. Whenever I oppose a card, erase this, and then rival wild cards. All right, so this forces them to wild card like the next card that they play. That also seems kind of cool because it's very likely to just get rid of it. A few of those, maybe, I don't know. ASMRs, villain. Whenever your turn ends, if a rival card was scouted this turn, it gets bigger. So this is going to be looks like a good scout payoff for us. It's also a 3-drop 3/3, which I assume is a pretty good rate. So we got the disorienting toss trap. Whenever a character you control is blocked, rival player discards 2 cards, which is a little weird though because we saw that issue earlier where like the scouted cards went away, so we like lost our scouting bonuses. I guess that was a different faction though. That was the.
No, it was that faction. It is
okay.
sort of it can sort of pull you into different directions.
Okay.
In this regard, yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we got Ixnay. Am I saying it right?
Ixnay? Yeah, Ixnay.
Okay.
I mean, I think.
All right, so I won't hold you to it. Whenever it arrives, return target card. So this is like a mana war. It's kind of 2/2.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm from Brazil, so I don't necessarily pronounce things the same way that other people do. And like it's comics and a card game, right? So there is an official pronunciation, but I only know it if I specifically ask the person, how am I supposed to pronounce this? And there's some stuff like, Aloysius that I would read. I would never pronounce it Aloysius.
Yeah.
Originally, I would pronounce it like Aloysius or something in Portuguese. And yeah, so I might not be the best source for official pronunciation of names due to not being American.
Yeah, I nailed the Aloysius. Whatever the Aloysius card is, I nailed the pronunciation first try with Corey last week. And that was my proudest moment of the stream. So I pronounce everything on the stream. So there's like any weird name, I'm like, oh god, here we go. So all right, so we got Cornerman here. Whenever it's blocking, okay, so that's not a block. Bookworm, whenever it arrives, got a random card. Revealed cards. This one seems sweet. So this kind of like makes the cards in your opponent's hand cost more of it or scouted, and then pretty big too. A 4/5 is pretty big, so put some of those in there. And then independent study. Whenever a character you control arrives, enhance the arrived character. Gain one of the following at random: +1 attack and +1 health, evasion, eager, flurry. 1 follow through, unblockable, untargetable, or anticipate. I know what a lot of those are. A lot of them seem reasonable, but it basically just gives it a random ability. So
yeah, pretty much.
Oh, and this is an asset. So this is the card that sits in play and then buffs your creatures as they enter.
Yeah. This just sits in play forever or until destroyed, and it's going to keep applying to any new character you play.
Cool. All right, so we got Drake. Whenever it attacks, he gets +1 flurry, and then that's cumulative, right?
Yes, yeah. So it stays forever. So the first time is going to attack for 4, and then for 6, and then for 8.
Okay.
And then if you pump it, obviously it's going to.
Okay. So Crime Blotter's a slam dunk here. Obviously, this is going to be a good payoff for our scouty stuff. We got Memento Mori. I'm probably saying it wrong. Whenever it attacks, put a random revealed card from your Province deck into your hand. That's awesome. I like that. I don't know much about what our curve needs to look like, but we'll look at that at the end. The Mind Hammer sounds awesome. Target player discards their hand. They forge a random card for every discarded card, and put them in their hand. And forge means to create something. So a random card in the entire game.
Yes.
That's fun.
That might not be interfaction.
Right.
Either.
Yeah.
They can always all walk card it, but yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That's what I seem on theme with our deck, I guess, but it's still a cool card. Okay, I guess this card. So this would be like if we're kind of like, I guess prospecting for our wild card deck, which I'll probably build next stream. For big powerful effects that you want a wild card, this one seems very, very good.
Yeah, this can be very disruptive, and that is the type of effect that, like, if you play this in a multi-faction wildcard deck, you're always only wildcarding it, right? Yeah. Whereas it is actually a payoff for being mono faction, because 4 of a specific faction is quite hard to accomplish.
Okay.
If your deck has 2 factions.
So is it like
is
it kind of off theme for what we're doing here, but because we're monocolored, it's almost on theme? Like maybe we should play with this card?
I mean, it is off theme, but you are the only deck that can play it without wildcarding it for the most part. So you can put it if you want. But yeah, I agree with you that it is off theme. And you already have a couple 5s.
That's
right.
True. All right, we'll do one of these. The card is the same fun. We got the Notch. Whenever a rival card is scouted, it temporarily gains unblockable, and it is a 6-power creature. Seems okay. I mean, it's a 6-drop. I mean, this obviously the Abyss seems much better, so let's just max out on the Abyss, I guess. So 3 of those, and that's it. So we're at 30 cards right now, so we got to fill out a little bit here, obviously. Maybe we'll just add a 4th copy. Oops, of this. Recount or upload the card with energy, erase it. Sure. I'm sorry. You gotta click the actual title to add. So
yeah, on the card. Yeah.
What did I remove by accident then? Did I remove a card? Recount, Vigilante, Tiger, Sleeper Grip.
I'm not sure.
I don't think I did actually. Okay, so Sleeper Grip taps things and draws. Turn events is the whenever a rival plays a card, erase turn events and rivals. Sure. So that's 34. So I guess one of the downsides to playing a monocard deck is also like just card quantity. We just need to have enough cards like for our theme.
Yeah, right now, I mean this is only the base set, right? So you might have to end up playing cards that are not necessarily on theme down the line as we release more cards. Like there are 2 cards that already exist that could be good in this deck that we might see in a different stream, but yeah, you might need some stuff that is not necessarily on theme, but that is just like a reasonable card on its own.
Okay, and then the way to see those cards is that just on the website, or is it in client as well?
Currently, only on the. I mean, you can look at the cards on the website. You can look at the cards in client.
Okay.
There's a filter that currently it's filtered for only cards that you can play, like only cards that you own.
Mm-hmm.
But if you change, yeah, there's that filter over there, that thing. Yeah, you can go to there's available. You can go to all.
Cool.
Yeah, so the Secret Admirer. This is the card that I talked to you about. Yeah. Like if they draw a scouted card, it gets +4.
This card's
but to get a card, you have to go to the website currently.
Okay.
You can't just buy the card online.
But
yeah, for the base cards, it is. You're gonna have to go a little bit off theme if you play a 1 faction deck, I think.
This card's cool too. Okay, and then again, these are cards that you have to buy on the site, right?
Yes.
So if I would go to a site, I would say I want to buy Secret Admirer. It's $2 or whatever it is for the card. I'm just guessing. Obviously, I just made that up. And then I'd buy them. They'd be in my account. And then at some point, if I want to sell them back, 90% back, which is pretty cool. So.
Okay. Yeah, and this is also showing you. Not all of these great cards are new cards, right? Some of them are just promo styles that you don't have.
Got it.
For example, this is the same card as the other one, but a promo. Right?
Now, I unlock this by just playing with it and getting those achievements.
No, this one specifically, it is something you actually need to own. Like this is part of a promotion that we did.
Got it.
This is an art from the comic covers, so it was in those special boosters with cosmetics and enhancements like this. So what you will get is if depending on what card it is, because cards have different rarities, and the rarer a card is, the more quests it's going to have to complete. So not every card is going to have an alt art, for example. So a card might have a different border, right? So you see the border on the Thoughtseize there. You might have your own Thoughtseize with this border instead, right? For example. But there's not going to be a different art Thoughtseize to be unlocked in quests. But there's going to be a different art The Abyss because it is a main character and we want to have art for that, right? So what you can unlock depends on what the card is.
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's go back to the we can get. So we'll just add it. Let's play 4 of the Mind Hammers. The card seems sweet anyway. And then so I think I might have cut a card by accident. Of course, we're saying that too. We have the Freshman. We have Thoughtseize. This is the Vanilla Creature. That's the Bounce Spell. The Coded Messenger. Is this card like reasonable or it seems?
Yeah, no, it's definitely reasonable. I mean, Scarlet Tiger is a little bit better, even though it might not be on team, right? The one right below it that gives flurry,
Okay.
because again, that does stack.
Okay.
So it is just like a reasonable to drop. So I think that is a better card.
Okay.
But
so add some tigers. We had sleeper grips. Oh, oops, no. Oh, 9. Too many. Banish recount. Add that. Oops. Add those. Turn of events. Tail of the tape.
Well, you're just trying to cheat rampantly.
What?
You're just trying to cheat rampantly by adding
95 of the same card. All right, so toss.
Yeah.
Card you control is blocked. Rival player discards 2 cards.
Ixnay is pretty good. The thing with the bounce spells is that the card is also revealed when it goes like so. It won't count as revealing a card, but it will count if you have the bookworm, for example. It will make it cost 1 more.
Got it. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so let's do that. Let's shave back on one of the. What did I add? How do I sort this by?
Oh, if you want, you can go to the horizontal view, which is like there's this thing that's called there's delete, done, and horizontal on the bottom there. On the bottom of your deck.
Sweet.
If you go to horizontal view, it's going to give you a curve.
It's a mine hammer. All right, let's shave a mine hammer, I guess. All right, so cool. That's our deck. My first deck, and we'll have the abyss be the thing. Oh no, I screwed up. Oh god, what did I do? I removed the abyss.
Oh yeah, I think you might have to go to the other view to be able to make that the avatar.
All right, so 40 cards done. That's it. All right, so we got my first deck. Wonderful. And now we're gonna play. I guess we'll play against the bot once because I'm still kind of like. I mean, it took me like an hour and a half to play one game before, so let's go to play, and we'll go to play. We'll do random bot match again, and this time we're going to check out my first deck. And all right. Let's do it. Built my first deck, and then so I think, and then for folks who are watching the stream, obviously, I think that the plan's gonna be for we're gonna do 2 more of these streams, the next 2 coming Fridays, and I'm gonna be on my own for those streams, and I'm just gonna be building a cool deck. So we'll do the wild card deck for next Friday. So, all right. So once again, this deck is only Acolyte, so we're gonna have no resource problems at all. Look at our opening hand. We got our Bookworm, which is the 4-drop. Tail of a Tape scouts things in their deck, like 3-drop, the trap, and then we have the Thoughtseize trap here. Your opponent draw a revealed, so this is just going to hang out until they draw a revealed card, and we'll get it, which is kind of cool. Also importantly, like I said, it builds the resource too. Let's put this here. That's going to build our resources, and then we're all good to go.
Yeah, and you notice that you started with 5 cards, but they started with 6, right? Because they are 2 factions. So,
all right, so they're going to fire up a wild card, and they wild carded Memento here, and they failed, but they built their own resource. All right, and they got the resource. They got the red resource because it was top card of their deck. So cool. All right, so we go to our second turn here. We have Tales of a Tape, which is the scout, the cards in their deck. We have Turn of Events, which is the trap. My opponent plays a card, erase this, and then they wild card this. So I don't want to play this yet because I want to get a bigger card with it, I think. So we'll just play the Tales of a Tape and just kind of get our scout on. That sounds reasonable.
Yeah, here you have 2 choices, right? If you play now, you have more turns to hit a right card with Thoughtseize, so you get to steal a card from them. Mm-hmm. But you did just draw the ASMR, which says when you scout a card, it gains +1/+1.
Okay.
So you could just leave it there, and the next turn you can play the ASMR and immediately play it.
Oh, that's cool.
Since you've already paid for it, and then that's going to be a 4/4 to begin with.
Sweet.
So I would probably do that, and it does make you less likely to trigger the Thoughtseize, but only by a little bit. Okay. So I think it's worth it.
Cool. All right. So that's kind of a thing we get used to. Also, is that you can time your spells accordingly. So because we drew this card here, whenever you nope, not that one. Yeah. So this card, when you scout cards, it gets bigger. So we have like a sequencing issue here of like, well, if we play this first, we can't do this. But because of the sequencing issue, we can just sequence it later by playing this over here. So play this over here. Now I'll play it next turn, still build a resource, and then next turn we can play this and just play this for free, which is sweet. So cool. All right, so they say go. They add their resources and they also play a freshman. So they play this and they scout a random card from a rival's deck. And they also play a card face down too. So we know that this card is an action or trap card that costs 1 or 0, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we draw.
Currently, I don't think there are any zeros, though. Again, spoiler alert, there will be soon.
Cool. All right, so we draw a tiger, but we're not going to use that yet, I think. Anyway, we're going to play the ASMR, and then we're going to trigger our Tales of Tape, and that's probably it. So play this using our 3 energy and our faction resource, and then this card is free because we already played for it. So we'll just play this. So we scouted. There we go. So okay, cool. So cool. So we see here. These are the cards that are revealed, but no particular order, as I mentioned earlier. And we see Miss Modalist, which is just a 6/1. Jeez. The Merciless Fighter gets the Flurry. We saw that earlier. The Crime Blotter. I say now we're like, I feel like the first like hour or two of a new game is always extremely daunting. It's just like you're just reading every card. You're like, oh my god, just so much information. But I've been playing for an hour or two. I'm like, oh yeah, Crime Blotter. I know that card. Oh yeah, Thoughtseize, cool. Okay, sweet. So Thoughteize, Crime Blotter. And then the Whip Trap is deplete target character. It's a trap. When you are attacked, deplete all attackers end combat. So this negates the attack, basically.
Yeah, it's basically a fog.
Okay.
But yeah, it's funny that I think because we are competitive players, we kind of need to read everything and know everything that's going on, right? I am like this too. You know, any card that appears, even if it's not in play, I want to see what it does.
Right.
And a lot of people would never read this.
Yeah, it's funny actually. Well, I was at the Too Many Games con. I was at a con or whatever last year with Brad Nelson, and Brad's been super into Commander lately. And we sit down to play a Commander game. Like, I'm not a big Commander player at all. I'm not really. I'll play, socially a little bit, but for the most part, I'm not really a big fan of it because it's just not my thing. But we sit down and start playing, and I'm like reading every card, like he said, because I'm just like, I want to know what's happening in the game. And he's just like, listen, man, like, Commander's fun if you just don't read things. Just like things are going to happen, and your opponents are going to play things. You're not going to know until it happens. It's just let it go. That's how you play Commander. Just let it go. I'm like, all right, sure. That's so against my nature. Like what you're saying. We're like, I just want to read everything. I want to know what cards do. So just like funny. But all right, so those cards are revealed. We got our creature in play. We're outsizing them, which is good. Nothing else to do. And then now we're going to be able to build a faction power. And now we already have 2 of our main faction. We're going to get 1 every turn anyway. So we're going to build a sculptor here so we can steal our stuff, right?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Especially because you already have the Thoughtseize, so if you happen to hit a Sculptor card.
And we do have the 4 pip Acolyte discard card, but that costs 5 and it's only 4 pips. So as long as I have 4 Acolyte and then 1 Sculptor, that'd be fine anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna make our Sculptor, and then we're gonna say go. And then when your turn ends, if a rival card was scouted, it gets a buff. That's a 4/4. This card seems great.
Yeah, it is it's one of the best scouting payoffs.
Cool. All right, and then what do? They're going to vanish. They're going to bounce back to our hand. So return that to the hand. And they're going to attack and scout a card from my deck. So we got a little Spider-Man meme here. So, and that's an attack trigger, but it's still attacking, obviously. It goes to my turn. And now, nothing we can do here as far as blockers. I don't have any blockers. I don't have any tricks or anything like that. So we're just going to take the 2. Bop, there we go. And replenish our resources. Get our purple. So now we have 4 energy, 3 purple, and 1 red. And now it's important to note that the effects are perpetual. So this is still a 4/4, which is cool. So the bounce spells in some ways aren't as good as they are in other games because in Magic, your bounce spell resets everything. They put a solar artifact on an Ornithopter, you bounce it. Well, I guess that's not a good example, but whatever. You pump things up. So still a 4/4, which is great. We have 4 energy and 3 of our things. So we probably still want to use all of our resources this turn, though. So we could either play the Tiger and then this Trap, or we could just play the Bookworm. We still have Thoughtseize available also. And they have another Trap card here, too. So I guess we're just going to play the big thing. That seem reasonable?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, you might regret that depending on what the trap is, but again, also depending on what it is, you might regret not doing that because we don't know it's a trap, right? It could be a vanish, right? For all we know.
Okay.
It could be a tail of the tape, right? Okay. It doesn't have to be a trap.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna walk headlong into it. Make them have it. What do they got? So when it arrives, got a random card in the hand. Looks like we're good to go here. Whoa, what's that? Pebble. Can't attack. Silence Pebble. That means remove all text from cards. Text box. All attributes of a card. Keeps its qualities. Its cost. so it just loses all abilities, so it can attack, obviously. So this is a monster creature that can't attack, and you pay extra cost, and it can attack. Okay, it's huge. And then we're good to go. There's no reason to this. I guess if you're playing a monocolored deck, you're far less likely to wildcard cards. Also,
yeah, if you feel your curve. In this case, like you had a 1-drop, right? But sometimes you need to wildcard on turn 1, and if you fall behind, if people bounce too many of your things, then you can also just wildcard to get cards in play.
Okay. All right. So the card they have face down was Sleeper Grip, which exhausts our creature. Or I'm sorry, it's unreadies our creature. So it's unable to block. They're gonna attack again. So they get another trigger again. You're kind of like the whole like Ophidian snowball effect going. And they also played a Joy Buzzer. Whenever it arrives, if it is forged, it means it was created by another card. It gains Eager, which means it can attack immediately, and 4 attack and 4 health. So, are there cards that specifically forge Joy Buzzer, or?
There's nothing that forges Joy Buzzer, but for example, there is a card that forges a copy of a character you control.
Got it.
Right, then if you play Joy Buzzer, or if you play Mindhammer, you're gonna forge cards in their hand.
Okay.
You could forge Joy Buzzer.
Okay, sure. That's fine.
But the idea is to combo it with the card that makes copies.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So they're attacking, passes the turn, and now it goes to my turn. I draw my card for turn. It is a turn of events, which is we already have one of those, right? Yeah, one of those. Okay. And then we can't block because our creature is not available, so we'll just take 2 again. We're going to go down to 21 and get our resource. We've already drawn our card. So now we have 5 energy and 4 purple, and gonna double spell here for sure. Tiger doesn't block particularly well. This can return something to its owner's hand, but I can't play this. I guess I could play that. If I felt like we're like behind here, I could play this and something else. Although, when the card is returned, it's considered to be revealed, right?
So you don't get a reveal trigger because you only reveal something that you didn't know about before, right? So you're not going to trigger ASMR, but it is revealed in the sense that, for example, Bookworm, which you have in play, is going to make it cost 1 more. So you're not revealing anything, but the card is revealed.
Okay. So I think here arrives, scan random card, there go cards cost some more. Hebel. This is the draw revealed card. Okay. I mean,
yeah, what Corey wrote is a better way of putting it. Scouting is the verb. Like what you're doing is scouting cards.
Got it. Okay.
And then revealed is the state of the card. So the card is not scouted, but is revealed.
Got it. Okay. All right. So what's I think we're gonna maybe bounce this thingy, and then we can play the tiger and act for 4, and then I mean.
Well, you can't attack because your thing was depleted, which means it didn't ready this turn.
Oh, okay.
Right,
So,
it's the thing, the tap that doesn't untap.
Okay, so the symbol was red before. So explain to me how the symbols work. So it was a red battery, and now it's a blue battery. What's the difference?
Yeah, the red battery is there's no charge left, right? You will see that it's also smaller in this, like it's less filled. So that means depleted, which means it is not gonna get ready for an extra turn.
Oh, okay.
So they passed to you. Your thing was supposed to get ready, but didn't. So now the depleted status goes away, the red battery, and is replaced by just the unready status, which is the blue battery.
Got
so
it.
now next turn, your thing is going to get ready normally because now it's just blue. It's not red.
Got it.
But if it was red, it would take an extra turn.
Okay, so so we have ready, unready, and then we have less than unready, which takes even longer to get done. Got it. Okay, so this thing is unavailable. Sure. So I guess this is pretty good though, because we can bounce a 3/3 and block the 2/2 anyways. So let's just jam. So jam this, and then we'll bounce the 3/3. And then we'll
is Blue Coin Speed his invitational card? Well, that doesn't look like me at all.
What's up?
Someone asked if Bookworm was my invitational card. It doesn't look like me at all.
Yeah, I mean, maybe under all the
glasses.
I
guess he could look like me.
Right.
Could be anyone's invitational card.
Yeah. All right. They'll play the character, and then this enters unready also. But we have this now, but we still have the this to block the 2/2. And blocking it seems like a really good thing. It's obviously every turn attacks they get more benefits, so we want to try and trade off that if possible. And I think we're good. Okay. So go to their turn. They have a lot of cards. Is there a max hand size? Ooh, what's this?
No.
Oh wow, man, they're really coming at us here. All right, so they play Dust Devil. Whenever it has eager, it can attack immediately. Whenever it attacks, your rival temporary can't voluntarily deploy actions.
Yeah, so normally when you are attacked, you get this before blockers step, right, where you can play things.
Right.
And then with Dust Devil, you can't.
Got it.
But traps will still trigger. If you have a trap that triggers on you being attacking, it will still go off. So
Okay.
you can't voluntarily play stuff, but if you don't control it, like it doesn't skip that phase altogether.
Man, they're crushing us. They're just like killing our blockers and freaking hasting us and all sorts of stuff. All right, so we obviously, because of this, we don't have anything to play anyway, but even if we did, we couldn't play because of this. And we have no blockers available because these aren't ready yet. So let's take 6 here. Solid chunk. And then we're going to replenish. Now these are available to attack now. Top card. And we draw. We have Sleeper Grip. Okay. We have 6 energy. So we have tons of resources now. We could actually do 3 things here, or even more, right? We could do. I guess we can't play this and 2 things, but I'll play the card at race tournaments.
Yeah. You can also use Scarlet Tiger, right? Which so it's highlighted in play there to give something else flurry in the good bookworm. So that would be another, like you can do 3-2 and that, or 2-2-2.
Yeah. Basically. Okay. I think I want to get the ASMR in play. I think I want to Sleeper Grip this 4-3 maybe. Kind of that will we draw a card, slow us down for a turn, and then the ASMR can block the 2-2. I guess we could always just block the. I guess we're not like that far behind. We could just trade these. So we have another one anyway. So, although I have to deplete this to use it,
but not deplete. Deplete would be red.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's ready, unready.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. You just have to use it use it basically. Like deplete is it's worse. This is just using it, and it will go back to being usable next turn.
And flurry is double damage. Or double.
It's plus. So it's the flurry 1 is double damage. Flurry 2 is triple damage, and so on.
Okay, that's pretty good, I guess. All right, so let's play. Let's do all this. Let's play the ASMR. Let's Sleeper Grip the larger creature, and then we'll activate this and just fire it for a huge attack. I guess, right? That seems pretty good. So let's do this. And so now so we see the red here means that they're out for an extra turn. And
yes.
Then we're going to activate this. So that is going to, and we'll pump this thing. So this is going to be unready now. This thing's now got the extra ability. And let's swing. You're in, my friends. Turn the tides here a little bit. And then hopefully we can seek a card at some point and get this thing to 5/5 so we can get through the tornado thing before it's ready to battle again. Alright, so they're going to replay the 3/3. They're going to play a Trouble Seeker, which is just a little eager cadet. And we draw Mind Hammer. Alright, so this is our target player discards their hand. They forge a random card for every discarded card and then put them in their hand. So looks pretty backbreaking. They have 5 cards in their hand. That costs 5, and you could play a 2 drop also. And now these things can all block. So this thing.
Yeah, so that is effectively an 8/5.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. And this they could double block, which would be, I guess, not like great. Turn events. Let's just start here. Just see. And then we're going to... The cards they forge are not known to us, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay. Then we have another bookworm also. We have 7, 2... Alright. Yes. The only question is if we're going to attack or not. I guess we don't want to attack, I don't think. Let's just do this. Like, This card should be making the game a lot better for us overall because the quality of their hand is going to diminish so much that we can just kind of play a longer game, I guess. So hammer them, so they lose all 5 of the cards in their hand, and they get 5 random cards. Pretty lucky for them, they got cards that were on.
Yeah,
cards, right? Like,
yeah. Like, they could have got it 5 uncastables, and they can actually cost 4. You might have improved their hand.
Right. All right. Well, hopefully not. Some complaint equity if they did improve their hand, and then we'll put turn events on a trap. And
yeah, know that you can use that on yourself if you're really desperate.
The Mind Hammer card.
Yeah,
that's fun. Okay, and all right. So never lucky. We're gonna say go. I don't think our attacks are great here. We're kind of wasting the tap. I guess the unreadiness of this, but I think that's fine. I've already used all my energy, so I have no resources left. So we'll just say go. So their attacks are pretty bad. Again, the idea of playing Mind Hammer was that their hand would get worse. Perhaps it did not, but so they're going to play a Fire Sculpture, which is an action forged copy of target creature you control, which would have been really bad for us. But whenever your players are... So they played the card that would have copied their... Wait, nope. Yeah, that would have copied their Buzzer and made it huge. But our trap card made them wildcard it, which failed. Awesome. And then they play a Dross Albino Alligator, which was forged from the card that we cast. It's a 1-mana 1/1, and whenever it deals damage to a character, just destroy damage character. Sure. So kind of death touch, if you will.
Yeah.
That's that. And they added a second copy of the Freshman, which is also forged. So just a lot of crap in play, basically. They didn't attack. Goes to our turn. And now we just have this thing sitting in play so we can just keep pumping our creatures, which is kind of cool, right? Okay. So Scarlet Tiger, we have a bunch of resources now. 8 energy. We'll play the Bookworm. We're going to turn of events again. Whenever Power was big card. Now, what happens if I have 2 copies of turn events face down? Will they both trigger on the same card?
Yeah, they both trigger, so you don't want that.
Okay. All right, so we'll play this one of those. And then we have enough energy left to either activate the character or to play another tiger. If I have toughness. No, this thing's back online too. I guess I just play another one because I'll be able to activate both next turn. So play this and just say go, I guess.
Yeah, your cards are already pretty big. Right? You don't necessarily need to pump them right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, your ASMR is also going to get 1 bigger because you played Bookworm.
Right.
You scout that card this turn.
Oh, okay, so the triggers, so you kind of like play all your cards in a batch, and then when you're done playing them, they all trigger?
So no, but this is at the end of the turn. The ASMR.
Oh, okay, got it. Oh, we already scouted. Got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So they have the super. So thankfully, the big 8-drop they got is the one they can't cast easily. So that's good. So that's revealed. That ends the turns. Yeah, let's do next, and then we're gonna build. I mean, there's almost 0 reason to build this unless we somehow got this card out of their hand into our hand, right? So which would be even then if we couldn't do it. So we'll Acolyte.
Yeah, there's no real upside because they aren't playing that faction, so you're not even going to be able to steal it from their deck or something because they don't have that in their deck.
Yep. What's up, Sazul in chat says, when is this game released in full? The game was released about 2 weeks ago. So it is live now. You can use the link in chat, ! Emergents. If you're watching on YouTube, the link is also going to be in the YouTube description. Download it for yourself. The cards we're playing with right now are the free-to-play cards, and they're also obviously cards you can purchase as well. There we go. Flux got me. Thanks, appreciate that. All right, so whoa, what is this? Mother Plant. Oh, we're things are happening. I'm looking at chat and things are happening. Mother Plant, character plant forged. Each player forges a wild plant, usable only during recruit step when a character you control is destroyed. Mother Plant gets +1 attack. Okay, and then the plant itself is just a 1/1. That's kind of cool. So it's an 0/4, and then when anything dies, that they control dies, it gets bigger, and then it just makes this token also. It's a fun card. Okay. So still kind of on a stalemated board here. And then they also played. Did they play a card that my trap had triggered for? What did I miss? They played Sparky.
No, it was is erased. So yeah, I think it was the Slipper Grip that
Okay.
they tried to play.
Okay. All right. Then we're gonna play with your Memento Moroi. Whenever attacks at a random revealed card from your rival's deck into your hand, which is kind of cool. Now, what's the mechanics in the game? So right now this board's getting really, really messy. What is the way out of a board like this? What's the typical plan of action?
I mean, sometimes you just have bigger characters, right? There are some cards that stop blockers for a turn, or you play some bigger characters, or you have something with follow through, which means you can deal damage over to your opponent. So you can just use the Scarlet Tiger several times on it. In this particular case, it looks like you don't necessarily have a very good way out right now.
Okay.
Right? So maybe just pumping your stuff but your characters are bigger
Right.
than your rivals, so at some point, like even though they can double block one or two, like and they have the draws that will kill anything with single blocking,
Right.
you might have good attacks, but you're also at 15, so
All right. So I think we're gonna
tricky.
just use these because our blocks are still good. Do you want to like pump the plant up maybe? Get that thing into like it'll be a 3/1, and then next turn we can attack with it, or attacking into like the death touch creature doesn't seem particularly great either. So I'm just like flurry. I guess. Also, when this thing attacks, I get a random revealed card from. So I just get a random spell. So let's look at this real fast. So I'll get one of these random cards.
Yeah.
Okay, so a pretty wide variety of cards here. All right, let's target this. All right, and then we'll. Oops. I guess let's target the plant again. It's like our most expendable creature that we'll just like trade off with something. I guess that'll grow their plant though, but. All right, so let's just say. This is also a thing that happens commonly in like with the more startery cards, like the first Magic deck that I built my stepson. He was like 5 at the time, which is like vanilla creatures and lands. And I remember like him and my wife Nicole played a game, and they played for an hour, and like Nicole just decked because like they just don't get through, because like so with starter cards this often happens. So all right, so yeah, Power Technic. Whenever hot have arrived, if you have 6 production, draw a card. Pretty cool. So later in the game, it's going to be a. Honestly, this card's sweet. This card happened last time. So, hold on, something happened. I thought these. So they play this late in the game. You draw a card. They forged a. Is there another plant thing?
Yeah, it taps to forge a plant.
Oh wow. Oh, this really gums the board up. Okay. And then we have. Now, did our Thoughtseize go off?
Your Thoughtseize went off and stole their Thoughtseize.
Okay, that's a fun variation on Thoughtseize. Your Thoughtseize. Okay, so now we've got a bunch of stuff in play. Our attacks still don't look great, but I think that's fine. Just gonna play the Bookworm. That'll pump up the ASMR. Obviously, it's getting bigger every turn, which is pretty sweet. We can, if we pump this thing up one more time, we can attack with it. And I'll just trade with one of these, I guess, which is like, I guess whatever, but let's just do that, I guess. So target this, and then we have I've managed everything, right? Play this. We scout a card from their hand. We already know their hand though. But now, does that count for a scout trigger or no?
I don't think it currently does. We did change that a couple of times in internally, but
Okay.
it should. I don't think it should right now.
Okay.
Like you have to scout a new card.
All right. Let's just start pumping our stuff up. So we have a good mana sink here at least. Or not mana sink, whatever. We can kind of like keep pumping our stuff up. Then we'll go to attackers. I'm gonna send in the 4/1, and I guess that might it'll just simplify the board a little bit. I guess if they want to trade. So, and then does anything else want to attack? I don't think so. So ship it. It's a grindy game here. His flower cards are a real grinder. So they're gonna block with their own flower. We get to exchange. And that gets a little bigger, which is fine. Whip Trap.
So yeah, now this is one of the cards you scouted, right? So you know it's there. So you know it's their top card.
Okay, so next turn they're drawing a thing that will deplete a character. Got it. Okay. Let me draw another Thoughtseize. All right. And Thoughtseize will.
Yeah, it will also not. If you play 2, it won't work.
Okay.
Basically. Because the card's already yours.
All right. So.
Yeah, it's cool. Like next turn, you're gonna be. You know that you were drawing that trap from them, right? Because you had the Thoughtseize. So once that happens, maybe you can start attacking already, because the big worry here is that if you attack, I think you're vulnerable to a crackback, but that is the trap that, basically fogs.
Oh, yeah, okay.
For a turn, so that should allow you to attack if you, flurry your big characters.
Okay.
And you'll probably have profitable attacks.
All right. Let's go here. So let's just start, getting our big characters damaging. We'll hold our Thoughtseize, and we're just saying go again, right? So.
Oh yeah, it gives you this warning because if you didn't play or wildcard anything, we don't want you to accidentally pass the turn.
Right, because the primary mechanic for resources is not immediately intuitive if you're playing other games that you need to be building your resource. Sort of like saying, hey, you didn't play a land. You sure you don't want to play a land? So okay, so let's say again. Alright, so now they're gonna draw this. If they go to they draw it, we thought so we steal it now. So now we steal that. And now we have this trap. So where if they attack us, we just cancel out their attack, and all of our things are depleted too, so they all don't untap aren't ready for 2 turns. Correct?
Yeah.
Right. So that's pretty backbreaking. We draw a recount. Rebel plays a card. If your Rebel has no energy available, that's probably not going to do much this game.
Yeah, I would guess not.
Okay. So let's put this here. Put this here. And then now we have some pretty huge attackers. We're going to lose 1 to this no matter what, but we'll just jam. We'll just make some stuff happen. Their largest toughness is 4. So if
they have a 5 that they wildcarded. You have to scroll the.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, wow. They hit on this thing. I just totally missed that. Okay.
Yeah. Which means they're also going to draw members of the Genesis Squadron every turn.
And there's 1 of these in each faction, right?
Yeah, there are 5. They're all cost 6.
So they're 2 and 5 a draw castable next turn, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, but then they can use this ability if they don't draw a castable card, right? If
the
ability lets you play.
Right. Okay. So these are all.
But it also might die in combat, right? Because everything that you have that's not the plants would just kill it in combat because it's, everything has flurry.
Okay.
Right.
So what should I flurry again? Flurry the 5/5, I guess. So flurry this. And then maybe I want an extra flurry on this guy. I'm also gonna draw a card off this too, right? Whenever attacks.
Yeah, you'll still 1 card from them.
Okay. So let's put this. This is currently 6. It's a complicated first game here. Jeez. I throw to the wolves.
Yeah, I'm glad you're not playing versus a person.
About what? Yeah, I know, right? All right, so let's. And then this is the. I could do this now if I wanted to. We want to leave it for a trap. Let's go to combat. Build 1 of these, and then we're going to attack with all the biggins, and just send it in. Wrong one button. You figure it out, opponent. So whenever it's attacks, put a random reveal card into our hand. We get a. We don't know yet.
Yeah, you will. It's just the visual thing that it's not updating because it's the AI and stuff.
Oh, it's the bot. Got it. Oh, that was some fast blocks. All right. Whoa. Where's it go? And Lodge triggers on the plant.
Well, that turned out good for you.
Yeah, so when all is said and done, I still have some very large creatures. They didn't kill my 3/6, which seems like a mistake, honestly. I feel like the Death Touch creatures should definitely block this, right? Because they still have cards I can steal with it. So this is going to be an absolutely monstrous plant. And now they wild card the card they drew they couldn't cast.
Yeah, it was a member of the Genesis Quadrant,
Yep.
right? Because you draw before you block. Right. Oh, they're attacking. That's ambitious.
So they trigger my trap card. Gotcha. So now all our things are now depleted, which means they will not be able to do anything for 2 turns and average dead, right? Because we just smash and smash again.
Yeah, I would imagine they're dead. I'm really curious why you still do.
It was a crime blotter. All right. So funny. All right. So now also we have these double effects too. They gotta just be dead, right? So we just like double the 4 power one 2 more times. All right, let's pump this. And then
yeah, no, they're super dead. I think.
This.
Yeah, they do get to draw a card right
true.
before they die, so they could draw like the unsummon, right, the vanish. Right. In which case, you wouldn't actually kill them.
All right, so we'll take a peek at their hand. And we got any cards in there. I'll put that there, and then and we'll just move into combat. So now this thing has 4. It's flurry 3, so it deals 4 times the amount of damage. Correct?
Yeah.
And everything attacks. So we got, this is 16. These are all 1s. This is 6. All right, so.
Oh, they did.
Unbelievable. All right, so and once again, folks, the attack step, they attack, it goes to their turn, they draw, and they drew the unsummons. They stayed alive here. They're at 5. I think they're still dead because they're at 5 and we have enough to kill them, and these keys can't block, but pretty funny, honestly. So, move right to combat. Select all. That plant card's
Someone's
cool.
asking if I work with the design. Yes, I've been working on designing this game for over a year now. So we finally launched.
Say draw, no unsummons. Yeah, oh, that was a grindy game. Jeez, yes. So, victory.
It really was, yeah.
There we go. And to remind everyone, if you're just tuning in, of course, Emergents TCG, a brand new game, came out 2 weeks ago. Worked on by Paulo, as we can see here, Corey Burkhart, Brian David Marshall, Zvi Mowshowitz, a bunch of obviously Magic luminaries, as well as a bunch of other people at Interpop, which is super cool, based on the Emergents IP, which has been a comic now for like 2 years, right?
Yeah, give or take. Well, the IP has existed for longer. Mm-hmm. The comics, I think, started going out about 1.5 years ago, I would say.
Cool, sweet. So, been out for a bit. The game is very, very new, and download for yourself for free. Emergents, of course, it is free to play, but there also are card purchasing options. You purchase the cards directly from Interpop, which is cool. You can sell them back for 90% of their value, so it has a real like collectible game feel, not like your average, Arena, Marvel Snap kind of digital game where you just kind of buy it and it's sunk cost, which is kind of cool. And yeah, sweet. This is going to conclude the second of 4 sponsor streams. Again, #sponsor. Big thanks to never sponsoring me, of course. It's been a lot of fun so far. Big thanks to having Paulo on. We had Corey on last week, Paulo on this week. However, going forward, I'm going to be doing the next 2 streams solo, which is going to be a lot of me fumbling around. Should be a lot of fun. We'll do some deck building, and it should be a good time. We'll actually play against some humans as well. I'm glad those are bot games. We're figuring it out. But yeah, so Paulo, thanks for coming on so much. I appreciate it. Any parting words you got?
And just thanks everybody thank you for doing this, right? And thanks everyone for watching and participating. I hope you enjoyed the game.
Sweet. So again, and if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, look for other videos. This is video 2 of 4. And again, if you missed the first one, that was like the real introductory one. So if you're brand new, great place to start. Because I was brand new also. I went in almost completely cold. And we had about 2 hours of Corey holding my hand and guiding me through. And honestly, it's kind of cool because the mechanics, as a person who obviously plays card games for a living, some of the mechanics are very similar to things and then some are very, very different. And it takes a little bit to wrap your head around them, but in a very cool way where you're like, oh, that's really interesting. Let me process that for a bit. So I pass the turn in combat, or I build resources this way. That's really cool. I have to think about that. I can't just use prior knowledge. I have to really kind of think about it and process it and then consider how it's going to affect things strategically, which is super cool. So that's so much. YouTube folks, love you. Like, comment, subscribing, and look for the next one. We're doing it on the next 2 Fridays. And I'm also going to produce a YouTube video, a little more edited, kind of like a short form, like 10-minute video going over the game to describe how everything goes. Look for that one as well at some point in the next 2 weeks, which is great. So YouTube folks, love you. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'm out.